The first week of Cactus League action is in the books, and the Padres are pleased as the energy on the field begins to match the attitude in the clubhouse. As Andy Green and his staff begin to assess their talent-rich squad, competition for spots in the roster will no doubt heat up. Today in Peoria, an emotional reunion for the newest Padre as Eric Hosmer faces his former team for the first time since he landed in San Diego. It's the Royals and the Padres, and it's next on Fox Sports San Diego. We welcome you back to the desert of Arizona. It's Cactus League baseball. The Padres are back home again in the desert in Peoria and Peoria Sports Complex. Today, it's the Kansas City Royals and the San Diego Padres in spring training action. We welcome you inside the stadium, everybody. Don Orsillo along with Mark Sweeney. Welcome to Padres baseball. What a day today is with Eric Hosmer on the first base for the Padres today and playing in the lineup again for San Diego. Eric Hosmer, kind of a strange day for him as he comes in to take on the Kansas City Royals, his old team. The only other team he knew prior to this season, of course, signing with the Padres. And he's going to match up against a lot of his former teammates, and that includes today's starting pitcher for the Kansas City Royals. And Danny Duffy was on the hill, and they were very close, not only in the minor leagues, but the majors. And this is what Duffy had to say after Hosmer joined the Padres. One of the best humans I've ever met, one of my best friends of all time. I told him yesterday, my happiness for you trumps the bummer that I'm feeling. It's going to be a strange day for Hosmer, going to be a strange day for Danny Duffy, but for Hosmer, the first of getting this out of the way, I think.
Yeah, and you're probably happy that it is in spring training, but they spent 10 years together in the minor leagues and also the big leagues, and that is very strange. It's going to be very strange for Eric Hosmer today, even though there's going to be a lot of laughs, a lot of hugs, embraces to understand there is a challenge today, but he's probably excited just to move on forward. This is a new opportunity for him in San Diego, and he's thrilled for that opportunity, but this is a step in that progression.
Well, today we're going to get a look at Brian Mitchell, which would be fun. The Padres starting pitcher came over from the Yankees. He gets the nod. Bob Scanlon with more when we return next on Fox Sports San Diego. get it started. But before we do, let's send it down to the third member of our broadcast team, Bob Scanlon.
Thank you, Don. This past offseason, one of the big stories in Major League Baseball was the lack of activity with regards to trades and free agent signings. But while many general managers were sitting on their hands, A.J. Preller was busy adding more talent to this organization. And one of his moves was to bring on right-hand pitcher Brian Mitchell from the Yankees in a trade that also included Chase Headley to bring him back to the Friars. Now, although he was a top prospect for the past 4 seasons, Mitchell had been bouncing back and forth between the big leagues and the minor leagues, between the rotation and the bullpen, very unsettling. But as soon as he joined the Padres, Andy Green declared that his spot in the rotation was set in stone. Does that make a difference? No question about it. Here's what Mitchell himself had to say about it.
It's tremendous for me. I mean, I've been in a situation the last few years, kind of been back and forth between AAA and the big leagues and fighting for that consistent job in a rotation, and I've always thought I was capable of it, and for them to give me that opportunity and, like you said, tell me up front, I mean, be honest with me, what they want me to do, I mean, it's just a tremendous amount of support.
Interesting is after the deal was consummated, A.J. acknowledged he'd been trying for 3 seasons to pry Mitchell away from the Yankees. Cashman wouldn't budge. He finally did. He's in a Padres uniform now, and the only person happier than A.J. is probably Brian Mitchell himself. Will get a chance to grab the ball every 5th day and not have to look over his shoulder. Well, today he's going to make a second start in Cactus League play. Brian Mitchell getting ready for the season. Padres, Royals, coming up next, right here on Fox Sports San Diego.
As high skies will be a factor on a beautiful day here in Peoria, as the weather has really warmed up over the last couple of days here after what was a chilly beginning to spring training. Now the Padres have taken the field today as they welcome the Kansas City Royals into town. Padres will be going to take on the Royals on Tuesday. Let's check out the visiting Royals starting 9, and Alex Gordon at the top of the order today for the Royals, and in left field with Whit Merrifield at second base, Jorge Bonifacio in right field, Salvador Perez, the great catcher for the Royals in the cleanup spot with Jorge Soler, the DH. Paulo Orlando is in center field with Alcides Escobar back with the Royals, one of the guys they weren't sure they were going to have back. He is back, and Escobar at shortstop with Hunter Dozier at first base. Ramon Torres at third rounds out the starting 9 for the Royals. On the mound today for the Padres, coming over from the Yankees, Brian Mitchell on the mound today.
Well, as Bob Scanlon touched on earlier, just a new lease on life and really good opportunity for him. Coming over from the Yankees, you see 20 games, only 1 start, but the Padres believe that he can be that starter. And he's added a little two-seamer to his four-seam fastball. Very aggressive with the fastball. Likes to throw some more curveballs as well.
A 1-1 record, a 5.79 ERA for the Yankees. One start for New York last year, and a total of 20 appearances in a Yankee uniform in 2017. Well, defensively behind him today, from left to right across the outfield, Jose Pirello has been playing some second base. He's in left field today with Manuel Margot in center. Will Myers in right. Chase Headley is at third base with Freddie Galvis at short. Luis Urias at second base. Eric Hosmer against his old team at first base. And Austin Hedges doing the catching today for Brian Mitchell. Again, it is a picture-perfect day today in Peoria. And here is the veteran Alex Gordon about to stand in for Kansas City. 148 games last year, just a 208 average for Alex Gordon. Kind of surprising for the Gold Glove outfielder.
Down year offensively because he is known for his glove, but should put up better numbers, especially with a lot of experience he has had.
Now Gordon leading it off. Merrifield and Bonifacio expected here in the first inning. And what can we expect today from Brian Mitchell?
Well, for Brian Mitchell, aggressive with the fastball. Anytime you're starting to get those opportunities, you have to show fastball command to both sides of the plate, but also like to see that good breaking ball.
On the ground down the first baseline, but a foul ball. Hosmer gave chase, but it's now 2-1 to Gordon.
Now these Kansas City Royals are going through transition. Obviously, you lose Eric Hosmer. He signed with the Padres. Lorenzo Cain is in Milwaukee. But also, as you touched on, Escobar signs back, and Mike Moustakas does not have a job yet.
Very different looking Kansas City Royals team than a year ago, and they knew it to end the year that it was going to be very difficult to bring back a lot of those guys that are still out there. Moustakas, as you mentioned, and of course Hosmer going to the Padres, and very different looking for guys like Gordon and Escobar who return. So all of a sudden is a very young roster.
That'll be difficult. Obviously, Salvador Perez is another one of those mainstays. They're still here, but in transition is this organization after a very good run.
And leadoff walk for Alex Gordon gets it started, and here is Whit Merrifield, second baseman for the Royals. Already Manuel Margot over to right center field. A big gap out there in left center for Merrifield. Hit a .288. 19 home runs a year ago.
6 for 11 on the spring already is Whit Merrifield, so he's off to a hot start. This is a player, if you watch the Kansas City Royals, you fall in love with. Plays the game hard. Also, versatility has a lot to do with his game.
Merrifield, 29 years of age. And a strike over the outside corner. Padres infield at double play depth here with Gordon at first base and held on over there by Hosmer. Two in conversation over there, and we may see quite a bit of that today from Hosmer and his former teammates. Yeah. Knows everybody.
It's got to feel good. There's going to be a lot of smiles, but there's some oddness to the day today. When you spend that many years, 10 years in that organization, you almost feel like it's never going to end. Well, that has changed, and yes, he has this new adventure here in San Diego.
Low throw, and it's dug out. That's one thing I'm looking forward to seeing often. Guy can really dig it out at first base in Eric Hosmer. You
know what the big difference is to me, too? Just like that, you're going to be able to take some throws, dig those balls out of the dirt, but also left-handed first baseman. Tagging the runners, those opportunities to possibly pick guys off, that's where Eric Hosmer is going to benefit.
2-1 to Merrifield, and he'll take that for strike two.
Now that's the curveball that everyone's talking about.
Kind of froze him right there. Looked like he was looking for something else. Merrifield batting now with Bonifacio waiting on deck. Royals batting here in the top of the first inning.
See if he goes back-to-back curveballs here, or maybe elevate a fastball.
Line to right. Myers coming in, and it'll drop in front of him. A little indecisive there as to what he wanted to do. Wasn't sure if he was going to charge that ball, and he kind of backed off, and it lands in front of him for a base hit.
Whit Merrifield continues to be hot. 7 for 12 to this point. 2-strike hitting. These are the tough plays for Will Meyer out in the outfield, and the reason why, it's always that first step, that line drive at you that poses problems.
So the ones right at you.
Very difficult. Coming off the right-handed bat's going to sink a little bit. You have to commit to that, but there's also times where you're going to have to keep it in front. That's a nervous feeling for a guy that's spent a lot of time in the infield in previous years.
Brings up Jorge Bonifacio, who gets started in right field today for the Royals. And hacking at that first pitch, fouls it back. So I guess the trouble really is depth perception of trying to figure out how well it's hit, whether it's going to get to you, and if not, you're in trouble.
Because there's a lot of fungos. You're preparing a lot of reads off the bat, but also batting practice has a lot to do with that. You're seeing it off the bat. That has something that you feel comfortable with. You can take fungos all day long to track them into your glove, but until you get those game action and when you're trying to make those split decisions.
Time called very late. PA system sounded like something came on there, and home plate umpire Jordan Baker asked for time very late as Mitchell was about to throw. Now Myers has been making the adjustment fairly well out there to right field from first base, and did have a miscue in the first game that he played in right field during the spring. Playing back-to-back days, then taking a day off, and in there today. As that pitch will miss for ball 1.
Come on, Mitchell, let's go.
Gordon at second, Merrifield at first with nobody out in the first. Salvador Perez waiting on deck here for the Royals. I imagine there's a good bit of nerves going on today for Brian Mitchell, too. This is a guy that the Padres wanted badly in that deal.
Well, and they also hear the same comments that we're reacting on. You heard Bob Scanlon talk about, hey, he has the opportunity. They penciled him into the rotation. You still have to go out there and prove it. It's always the mentality of guys that are searching for that task. He wants to be a starter in the big leagues. He didn't get that opportunity with the Yankees, and now he's getting a full opportunity for the Padres.
Down the line at third, but foul just outside the bag, and the lead gave chase.
Well, we've seen inconsistencies with a breaking ball early in this game. That is commonplace early in spring training. They're not refined. They're trying to get synced up mechanically, but also what you'd like to see is that fastball command setting up the breaking ball, and also sequencing when you start going through these opportunities as these starts get going.
Brian Mitchell is 26 years old, resides in Tampa, Florida, and of course part of the Chase Headley deal. Ball Jabari Blash going to the Yankees. That appeared to slip out of his hand there. Tried the breaking ball, and it evens at 2-2. Off the backside, trying to get the rosin on the hands there, trying to a little stickier, a little slippery that time coming out.
Yeah.
A little warmer here today than we've had all spring so far.
It feels great, and we've been putting on jackets, sometimes 2. Today is a perfect day in the Valley.
Fly ball headed out towards deep right center field. Back goes Myers onto the warning track, and that ball is going to be caught out there. Center field, Manuel Margot showing a lot of range. Out to right center field onto the dirt of the track, and right in front of the 385 marker out there in right center. Tagging and moving up was Gordon to third base. The ball went a long way, but a nice running catch by Margot.
Yeah, huge gaps down here in the Valley, and Manny Margot knows he has to get on his horse. He was playing straight up, so he had to go a long way. This is slicing away from him, dealing with the sun, and you can see making the catch. Gordon advancing to third.
So they're at the corners with one down for the Royals, and here is Salvador Perez. Seems like he has been in the big leagues forever. He is still just 27 years old.
Yeah, I think a lot of people talk and compare him to Yadier Molina, just the way he handles staffs, the way he handles himself, but also a clutch hitter. You can see the 27 home runs, 80 RBIs, and only 129 games last year. That's very good production from the catching position.
Spent time on the DL last year. There's a hard shot, but fouled outside of third. from Venezuela. First year in the big leagues for Salvador, 2011. So it has been a while that he has been in the big leagues. Doesn't just seem that way.
You would also think, too, they would lean a little bit more on his versatility in the clubhouse as well. Eric Hosmer leaves. He was a leader in that clubhouse.
Certainly is among the pitching staff. There's no doubt about that. Swing and a miss, and Mitchell able to blow it by him to strike him out. First K for Brian Mitchell, 2 down.
Yeah, this is the first fastball today. Looked like he finished it. You could see he has late life up in that zone and pitching above the barrel of Perez.
So 2 down, first and third. It brings up Jorge Soler. Remember all the fanfare about Soler coming up through the Cubs organization and getting to the big leagues for the first time with the Cubs. Takes that breaking ball high.
I almost felt like he was the untouchable when it came down to the Chicago Cubs and their influx of young talent.
Goes to the Royals last year, spending time between Omaha and Kansas City. Hit at 144 in 35 games in the big leagues with the Royals.
You know, I really think he passes the eye test too. You think about these players and big guys almost looking like football players and very athletic.
24 home runs in Omaha last year, but only 2 in Kansas City. Acquired in a trade with the Cubs in December of 2016. Mitchell trying to work his way out of this jam. He's up over 20 pitches in the first innings. Had to work hard. That's 22 now.
Yeah, and that's commonplace for the Padres of late. They got to try to get in a rhythm a little bit easier as a pitching staff. Taxing innings early in camp when you don't have too many innings working.
Runner goes at first, swung on and fouled off to the right, out of play. That time Merrifield got a jump at first base.
Look at that oven mitt he's got on his left hand.
A lot of guys going to that now.
That's for sliding too, because there's so many times that guys will slide in head first, which they have the speed to do that, and they hook that thumb, which really stresses those ligaments in that thumb. All kinds of hand guards. That's Alex Gordon at third. Here's the oven mitt.
There it is, the full mitt.
Could use that with your cooking.
Soler will lift it in the air towards left center field. Perella and Margot will make the catch on the track. 2 of them out there on the warning track in the inning, but Mitchell works his way around a walk and a single to begin the inning. The Padres are coming up. here in the last of the first inning as we check out the Padres starting lineup today for Andy Green, as Manuel Margot will lead it off and in center field. Already made a couple of good running catches out there in center. Freddie Galvis, the veteran, is at shortstop, with Will Myers in right field, Eric Hosmer at first base, Chase Headley at third base with Jose Perella in left. Austin Hedges does the catching with Christian Villanueva at DH, and Luis Urias getting another start at second base. And Urias seeing a lot of time during the spring here for Andy Green. And Danny Duffy on the mound today for the Royals.
Well, Danny Duffy was the opening day starter for the Royals in 2017. That was his first. 24 starts, as you can see, 9-10 record. Only 41 walks, 130 strikeouts.
Fly ball headed out towards left center field. Gordon coming from left, but he'll get called off by Orlando. Makes the catch out there in center, and Margot is retired. Let's check out the Royals defensively today. Alex Gordon getting the start out there in left field with Paulo Orlando in center field. Jorge Bonifacio in right with Ramon Torres at third base. Alcides Escobar at short with Merrifield at second base. Hunter Dozier at first base, and Salvador Perez doing the catching today for Danny Duffy. One down in the last of the first, and it brings up Freddie Galvis. Andy Green talking about the shortstop spot today before the ball game, and really is kind of interesting. They signed Freddie Galvis. He comes over from the Philadelphia Phillies here to the Padres, and you're in a situation now where you really don't have a backup per se for him, and he is going to play every day. He played in every game last year, all 162 as you see there with the Phillies. You expect him to play every day, but you do need to have a backup of some sort.
You know, typically on a 25-man roster, you're going to have a guy that is very comfortable at shortstop, because if you're going to make that change, he has to make outs, especially with a pitching staff like this, inducing a lot of ground balls. Freddie Galvis really wants to play every game, so that's a good thing. But to your point, you need somebody that is going to be out there, and you can give them the spot start once in a while and give Freddie Galvis a break.
But of the other infielders the Padres have, not somebody that has played shortstop on a regular basis. Seen a lot of the minor league shortstops playing in games. Javi Guerra getting a good amount of time at shortstop.
Yeah, and that's time for these younger players to really make an impression, but it's an opportunity to play early in these games, which I think is good. Also, getting those starts when you're going on the road, because typically that's where you use your backups. I think Dusty Coleman comes to mind.
Fernando Tatis Jr. has seen a lot of time too.
And he looks very good. Obviously, he looks comfortable at 19 years old.
Galvis lays off a pitch, and it evens at 2-2.
Had 2 hits in our last game on Wednesday, both coming in the same inning.
Everything goes right. It looks like Danny Duffy will be the opening day starter for the Royals.
Ian Kennedy is slated to pitch tomorrow, so this is the first start in spring training, so you would think they would map it out accordingly. And if he is healthy, it looks like he will take his second opening day start.
29-year-old, originally a third-round draft choice, and 9-10 last year for the Kansas City Royals, a 3.81 earned run average, and 24 starts for Kansas City. The year before, though, 2016, he was 12-3 with a 3.51 earned run average.
Yeah, last year on the gold medal winning USA team for the World Baseball Classic. 2-0 in those opportunities.
This one out towards left center field, and on the move again is Paulo Orlando, who's made the catch on the first 2 outs here in the bottom of the first inning. Well, former Kansas City Royal prospect Will Myers coming up next. And how about this picture? Will Myers with Mike Moustakas and Eric Hosmer back in the day. And now Hosmer and Myers are teammates again, but it's in a different uniform in a different city, as they're both Padres.
Myers went to Tampa Bay and then coming over here to San Diego, but those three were those impact guys that were raised in the Royals organization.
Yeah, Myers part of the James Shields deal with Tampa Bay. Ironically involving the Padres in a strange way too, as Shields would end up signing as a free agent with the Padres.
Yeah, I don't think it's probably as strange to Will Myers, even though he has a lot of friends over there. Saw him conversing before the game.
Takes the breaking ball for a strike.
I think it's a tip of the cap to the Kansas City Royals organization, because when they're They're guys that you pluck from a certain organization. There's a common theme. They've developed some star players.
Fly ball to right field. Bonifacio in and under. Got the glasses on as he makes a catch out of right field. Padres down in order in the first. Done with one without a score from Peoria. Here as we head to the second inning. Paulo Orlando had a couple of good catches in center field to begin things here in this first inning, batting for the first time, and it'll be Orlando, Escobar, and Dozier scheduled to bat in the second inning. 198 average, 2 homers, 6 runs batted in 39 games last year for Orlando. Who gets the start today. Brian Mitchell threw 24 first inning pitches. Worked hard, worked his way around a walk and a single. Was able to get Bonifacio to fly out. Salvador Perez, he struck out swinging on a fastball, and then Soler with the fly out, and that ended the inning. And get out of it unscathed.
Yeah, you would think about Mitchell probably being a little more aggressive in this second inning of appearance. I wonder how long they're going to extend him as well, being the second start.
Parts of 3 years in the big leagues for Orlando with Kansas City. Grounds one softly to Galvis. A little bobble, and the throw is still going to be in time. Nice play there by Galvis. There's a grass cutter out to him, and couldn't handle it cleanly initially, but got enough on the throw to get him.
Yeah, you could probably call traveling on Galvis, but what you got to be impressed with is he stays with it and has the arm strength. See him zipping it over there with also Hosmer digging that low throw out. Well, those are the little subtleties that, as you mentioned, balls in the dirt, but also the low throws. Being able to be athletic over at first base, that's going to be a huge benefit.
Alcides Escobar batting out of the 7th spot last year at 250 average, 6 homers, 54 runs batted in, and he played in every game. Look out, fastball riding up and in. Escobar, 31 years old, from Venezuela. One of 5 players to play in every game last year. Popped up. Hedges will make the catch in foul ground. Austin got rid of that mass pretty quickly and jumped out there to make the grab. Had Chase Headley coming down from third base, but take care of business as Austin Hedges, and Escobar is out number 2 of the inning. So 2 outs in the inning, and it brings up Hunter Dozier. Playing at first base today. Lucas Duda will be playing at first base on a regular basis. And of course, he was part of a championship for Kansas City, making an error that led to extra innings, and of course a game the Royals won on their route to the championship.
Pretty interesting press conference he had when he signed with the Royals. I'm sure a lot of Royals fans are pretty excited about having him, but also excited in that fifth game. That was a big play and a huge opportunity for the Royals to come back.
This one foul back to the screen. It evens at 1-1.
Gave them that opportunity to win their first championship in a long time, which was exciting for the whole organization. The city of Kansas City had to be thrilled to that. I loved watching that World Series. Just remember all of those great moments.
Mitchell is now retired 5 in a row. There's the first 2 outs here of the second inning. Dozier thought about it, but it's in the dirt. They were talking about that press conference with Lucas Duda being introduced, and he got the trophy right over his shoulder. Couldn't help but notice.
Yeah, and does that speak volumes about that picture and that press conference?
Absolutely.
Probably wanted to shift him over about 5 feet to the left.
There's strike 2. Grab the outside corner and a full count now. Appearances with the Yankees last year for Mitchell. 1 start. And a grounder softly towards Headley at third base. That will end the inning. A 1-2-3 inning for Brian Mitchell. Pretty good outing in his Padres debut. Eric Hosmer, when we come back, he'll lead it off. In the bottom of the second inning, just embraced with Salvador Perez. He made his way to the home plate area, and there he is in a Padres uniform for the first time against his old team, the Kansas City Royals. You know, spring training still got to feel very strange for him today.
Yeah, it's got to be very strange, and obviously Danny Duffy just pipes a fastball to him. I just love the game within the game here that's just out of respect.
It's got to be very odd to face the Royals, but very odd to face Danny Duffy, who you've been playing behind and with for a number of years, not only at the major league level, but at the minor league level, and now you're doing it here.
Yeah, because when you spent some time around Eric Hosmer, and I think the Kansas City fans know this all too well, he is first class through and through to everybody. And he has a certain presence around the fields that I think is obvious when you think about the San Diego Padres and going out and acquiring somebody like this. This is what you want to do.
Popped up, little pop up towards the shortstop Escobar, shielding his eyes from the sun as he makes the catch a stride on the outfield grass. So Duffy wins that battle with his old friend Eric Hosmer. And Duffy off to a good start. So one down, and here's Chase Headley. Well, Headley coming back to the Padres again. Last year with the Yankees, 147 games. He's their regular third baseman for Headley. And it appeared for a while there after the Padres got Headley, along with Brian Mitchell, that he may be flipped somewhere else before the season would start. But here he is during spring training.
Well, we talked about the strangeness of the offseason and free agents and acquiring them. I think it was such a strange year. There was not a lot of movement. That probably prevented a move of maybe flipping Chase Headley.
On the ground to shortstop as Escobar fires to first base, and Headley's retired. 5 in a row retired by Danny Duffy. So two-way, and Perella standing in. Has been seeing some time at second base. And really, that will add to his versatility and hopefully trying to find a way onto the roster here at this point. And with all the crowded situation going on in the outfield, if he can play some second base, that certainly will help his chances.
Well, especially against left-handers. You're going to try to probably get some more playing time with him, more at bats, because Carlos Asuaje, who is probably the favorite to start at second base, there's all other options as well. But if it is Carlos Asuaje, he's a left-handed hitter. Possibly get some at bats if Jose Perella handles the versatility part of the game.
That'll skip in for ball 2.
Really have to try to find those at bats, because Jose Perella, to me, in my opinion, had the most consistent at bats when he had opportunities to play every day. Defensively, he improved, but he made an impact with his bat.
Off balance cut right there, and it evens at 2-2.
Very good change up by Danny Duffy. See the arm speed, but also working off of that fastball location. Just fades away and away from Perella's bat.
Outfield for the Royals, playing him to go the other way. Orlando, the center fielder, over towards right center. That'll bounce in for ball 3. Five in a row retired by Duffy to start his outing. Imagine he'll go a couple innings. This is his first start of the spring. On the ground down the third baseline. That is just foul. Very close. Hugged the line all the way down and just to the left of the bag, apparently. Austin Hedges waiting on deck with 2 away. Good battle here for Jose Perella up against Danny Duffy. And that is just inside. Ball 4. 2-out walk and the first base runner to reach against Duffy today.
Padres opening series weekend presented by Saquon Casino is March 29th through the 31st against the Brewers. Don't miss the festivities all weekend long, including an all-fan fleece blanket giveaway on Saturday the 31st. Get details and tickets at Padres.com.
Yeah, Milwaukee Brewers going to be good this year coming in.
They have loaded up. Craig Counsell, after a very successful season last year.
Last year kind of a surprise. This year they're sort of expected to do some big things.
A lot of young players that stepped up at big times. I remember having Craig Counsell in a couple meetings, and he said, you know what, we have a lot of enthusiasm, and it's very organic. It's exciting because these guys just believe that they're going to win. It showed.
Austin Hedges batting for the first time today. He's off to a great start during the spring.
Well, if you start doing the math, I think if he gets 13 games down here, he's on pace for probably 180 homers. He's homered in all 3 of his games.
18 home runs last year during the regular season, but making some adjustments with his swing during the offseason and paying instant dividends so far here out of the gate during the spring.
They really have. That kind of drives me crazy when you hear those guys at the beginning of the year. They hit the home runs. They got 5 in the first week. They're on pace to hit 80 home runs.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it's not.
It always happens.
Always happens. But getting back to Austin Hedges, he has made some minor adjustments, tried to simplify his approach. I think it has a lot to do with his head movement. He's trying to reduce the head movement and getting down on that front side a little bit softer. It's helped his direction, his path of his bat, but also he's paid early dividends with those 3 homers.
Never been a big on-pace guy. I just I don't see.
No.
Baseball is too hard a game, and it usually evens out in the end. Even if you're hot for a little while, it's tough to say you're going to be able to continue that for much longer.
I think
work that way.
I think it really has a lot of excitement to people that are projecting. But this game has the ability to knock you down when you feel very comfortable about yourself.
You're on pace for nothing, is the way I see it.
Exactly. Well, Austin Hedges has really made some improvements. So many times you think about he's made the transition of a major league catcher. Now that offense has to catch up. Takes a lot of pride in changing that.
Good size lead at first for Perella, and this one foul back again.
I think a lot of the young hitters, they want to try to produce, and how they produce is try to overswing a little bit. They have longer swings. Well, when you start adding velocity, which all of these pitchers have velocity, you're going to get beat up at the big league level if you have a longer swing. Let them supply the power. What you learn is try to get that barrel to these velocity fastballs, and if you can do that, the ball's going to be driven. Saw so many home runs. That home run rate increases every single year. Unfortunately, the strikeout rate does as well.
Not just the home runs for Hedges, but really the at-bats have been very good.
He's taken his walks. I think Matt Stairs, the new hitting coach for the San Diego Padres, has really emphasized that. Talked about his swing, but he said, you know what, he had a 3-2 walk the other day, recognized it out of the hands very quickly.
There's ball 4 and back-to-back walks. And nicely done here. Good at-bats from Perella, and now Hedges against Danny Duffy. Had retired the first 5 Padres he faced, but back-to-back walks. And Christian Villanueva coming up here for San Diego.
Stay hot, kid.
Now Christian Villanueva 7 for 14 in spring training, including a grand slam yesterday. Both of his home runs have been monster shots.
12 games last year, hit at .344 in the big leagues with the Padres. With 4 home runs. Finished the year playing every day at third base. Fouls it back above us.
Not a huge numbers guy, especially in spring training. Early in the spring training, you're getting a lot of fastballs. They're not located very well. You got to be careful how you evaluate these guys. But I think it goes back to September when he had an opportunity to get some at-bats. Andy Green spoke very highly of him. So to couple that with this hot start, I think his name is definitely discussed in a lot of these meetings.
Fly ball hit pretty well out towards left center field. Alex Gordon headed back there towards the track and the wall. And that ball's off the wall. Perella has scored. Austin Hedges going to try and score. He will. 2 runs in on a wall ball double to left center field for Christian Villanueva. His hot bat continues, and the Padres jump out to a 2-0 lead. Well, Danny Duffy running into some trouble with the walks, and now a 2-run double to left center.
Now 9 RBIs for Christian Villanueva. How he does it. Watch this ball. He goes out and gets it. Down and in. And he touches it off that left center wall. Looked like it hit the bottom part of the wall. Hustling in is Hedges on the back end. 2 RBIs for a hot hitter.
Luis Urias batting here with a runner at second and 2 down. And a little fly ball out to center field where Paulo Orlando battles the sun. Get the sunglasses on and they put it away to end the inning. But a 2-run double for Christian Villanueva. 2-0 Padres. As the Padres starting pitcher is over. Good to get that out of the way, I'm sure.
Looked very good and battled the first inning. He said 24 pitches, but he's a little more aggressive in his second inning of work. They have to be very pleased.
Buddy Baumann into the game. 23 games, a 2-1 record with a 2.55 earned run average. Trying to work his way into that bullpen scenario that is very strong for the Padres heading into the season.
You know, Andy Green and staff has a lot of options. There's some bullpen pieces. Even in spring training here, they're going to open some eyes.
Baumann was originally in the Kansas City organization until coming to the Padres. Ramon Torres grounds one to short. Freddie Galvis on the run and in time. Nice play. Torres retired. Now 7 in a row retired by Padres pitching. Now, speaking of Brian Mitchell, let's send it down to Bob Scanlon.
Well, thanks. Standing here next to Brian Mitchell. Brian, congratulations. Outing number 2. How'd you feel out there?
Good. You know, I thought it was another successful outing. Keep building the pitch count up and just keep progressing through spring.
Okay, now you got to tell us, how is the transition going? You spent 8 years of your life coming up in the Yankees organization, a fresh start here with the Padres. How's it feeling so far?
It's been a blast so far, man. I mean, the team is awesome. The environment's great. You know, we got a good energy, so it's been nothing but fun so far, man.
As far as you're concerned, just knowing that you're going to get the ball every 5th day, not have to be looking over your shoulder, that's got to be a little bit comforting for you in terms of your approach coming into the season.
Yeah, I mean, definitely peace of mind for sure. I mean, I can take that and just pretty much build to that first start of the season, you know.
Brian, we know your repertoire: fastball, curveball, cut fastball, changeup. I mean, there's a lot on the table there. Curveball is the go-to pitch. I understand you're working on a 2-seam fastball as well. How are you incorporating that in so far?
Pretty much kind of splitting half and half, 2 seams and 4 seams, but definitely curveball is the go-to pitch for sure.
Okay, now we understand that you can also play a little first base. Last year you got the opportunity. You pitched the 9th inning. You go over to first base in the 10th. You come back in the 11th. Tell us about your experience manning first base.
I was very nervous. I mean, I can definitely stand out there, but as far as defend the position too well, that's another story. But that was fun for sure.
And the first pop-up got the best of you, but you came back and you caught the second one, right?
I got the second one. I was ready for a grounder, man. That's what I was anticipating, and I got that little jam shot blue, but I got the second one.
You were looking to make a diving play?
No, I was just ready for something on the ground. I wasn't anticipating a short fly ball for sure.
Okay, you're over in the National League now. Can you swing the stick a little bit?
I have been for a couple of weeks. I guess we'll find out soon.
As long as you can bunt, right?
I feel pretty comfortable with it, yeah. That's good.
Brian, great to see you out here. Congratulations, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Brian Mitchell getting it done, guys. He's on his way. Talk to you.
All right, thanks very much, Scan. There's a liner by Galvis at short into left field for Whit Merrifield. And Alex Gordon up to second base. Gordon had been hit by a pitch. So all of a sudden here, the Royals with 1 out have runners at first and second.
This is when everyone's saying to Whit Merrifield, why don't you save some of those? Well, this young man can flat out hit.
2 for 2 today. Single to right in the first, and now singles to left here in the third. That brings up Jorge Bonifacio. Flied out deeply to center field, and Manuel Margot in the first inning. Salvador Perez making a nice snag over there by his dugout. Center fielder Manuel Margot over towards right center. All kinds of room out there in left center for Bonifacio. Buddy Bauman, the second Padres pitcher of the day. Salvador Perez saving his teammates who are on that top step of the dugout.
I mean, anyone that's a fan of Salvador Perez, raise your hand. I mean, come on. This guy has great personality, plays the game hard, wants to play every day from a catching position. I just think that's really more unique in the game now. I think a lot of people's personality come out by the home run trot or the strikeout, the emotion. Salvador Perez has a good perspective on the game.
I love watching him catch.
I do.
Fly ball struck pretty well to left field. Perella turns around and watches that one leave. A 3-run home run for Jorge Bonifacio. And the Royals, with one swing of the bat, take a 3-2 lead. Boy, Bauman getting into some trouble, hitting a batter, giving up a single, and now a long home run to left. And the Royals take a 3-2 lead.
Jorge Bonifacio, you see, the fastball elevated. It's not just elevated enough. Bauman's reaction really comes into play. But what a swing by Bonifacio. Made an impact on this Royals club. Driving the ball to the ballpark. Can't make mistakes to good hitters.
Now trying to bounce back here against Salvador Perez, who struck out swinging his first time up. That was against Brian Mitchell, who started today. Talking about loving watching Perez catch, really an extension of the coaching staff. He's coaching pitchers through games. I mean, it's amazing to watch him.
That's going to be interesting with that new rule coming out too.
Yeah.
How many times Perez is going to be able to just have those conversations and your mannerisms. He's very animated behind the plate, and I think that's a good way. That's why the comparisons are drawn by Yadier Molina in the National League.
He played 129 games last year, 139 games the year before, and then even more, 142, 150.
Yeah, I think they tried to take a step back last year.
Popped up right side of the infield. His former teammate Eric Hosmer and Urias, who staggered but made the catch for round number 2. The results-based business, he got the job done, but it was not pretty.
I saw a little ice cream.
Yeah. 2 down. He'll bring up Jorge Soler. Soler flied out to the warning track in center field. His first time up. Ball caught out there by Manuel Margot. Pretty consistent breeze out there in center field per usual here at Peoria Stadium. Flags out there pretty much pinned to center.
Well, because you look back and you see those flags, you might want to take an extra step back.
Three-run home run in this inning for Jorge Bonifacio. I like the timing on that. I said they're pinned to center, and then we show it, and they're going from right to left. Pretty good. It's a swirling wind. Is what
swirling. We're at Wrigley Field.
That is strike 3, and Soler strikes out looking, but the damage done. Bonifacio with a 3-run shot. 3-2 Royals lead. For the bottom of the 3rd inning, and starting pitcher for the Kansas City Royals today, Danny Duffy, is kind enough to join us from the dugout. Danny, how you doing?
I'm doing well, guys. How are y'all?
We're doing good. We were just talking in between innings. The addition here for the Padres of Eric Hosmer. I know you guys are close. Had to be very strange to face him here today.
Yeah, it was interesting. I haven't faced him in about 10 years. So last time in an inter squad, he took me about 500 feet over the center field hitter's eye. So it was nice to have a different result this time.
Hey, Danny, I saw the first pitch. You gave him a good pitch to go out and drive. Was that something that you thought of, or were we just trying to battle those emotions?
I just wanted to challenge him. That was it. You know, when you've known a guy for that long, and you know his tendencies and whatnot, and just being his brother for such a long time, you want to go out there. There's a little bit of competitive fire in there, and you want to go get him.
Well, I want to ask you about that because I think Padres fans are, hearing about him, learning about him since he's been with the Padres. What can you tell us about Eric Hosmer and what the fans of San Diego can expect?
Man, in the clubhouse, it's an amazing dude. That's been noted by a lot of people. Out on the field, he's a warrior. The dude goes after it every day, and they're lucky to have him over there, and I wish him nothing but the best. I'm definitely, from a National League standpoint, I'm definitely pulling for him to succeed.
Danny, there's been so many tough times. Obviously, this whole offseason has been strange around baseball, but for you particularly, because you saw it coming almost. Eric Hosmer signs here with San Diego, but you got Lorenzo Cain Mike Moustakas, Escobar signs back with you. How strange has it been for you as a guy that's grown up in this organization?
Oh, you know, I mean, it's kind of inevitable in today's game. You're not going to see a whole lot of dudes stay with the same team for their entire career. So you just try to enjoy as much time as you can with these dudes. And when time comes and they've earned the right to be a free agent, you know, go take care of your family, man. If it's not here, it's understood. It sucks. But, you know, we obviously miss those guys dearly. But the game goes on. Time stops for no man.
How are you doing heading into this season? How are you feeling? I know today you get that outing out of the way, your first one of the year, but how are things going for Danny Duffy?
I feel great. I felt really good out there today. There was a couple at bats where I might not have been able to put away guys or get on top of the ball, but I was really pleased with the way I felt today. Typically 0-2, 1-2, I'm going to try to do a little bit better of a job to put people away, but it just didn't happen today. You know, the moral of the story is if you feel good out here in Arizona, it's you know, you're winning the battle. So everybody's just kind of getting ready, starting to get going and get their bodies back in baseball mode. And, you know, if I feel good, that's a win for me.
Danny, you made your first opening day start last year, and if everything works out right, you're probably going to do that again. How much of a pride factor comes into that and being honored by that role?
You know, it is really cool, and I've thought about it a lot. When I was younger, I definitely that's a coveted spot, but there's 5 dudes in that clubhouse, if not more, that are capable of doing that for us. And you know, to be able to have that honor and take the ball with the first game, everybody's got a clean slate. It's pretty cool. And you know, whatever ends up happening, I'm with it. Whether I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or the swing guy, I'm good to go.
Well, Danny, we really appreciate you joining us. Good luck this season and continued success for you.
Hey, thank you very much, guys. Take care.
Danny Duffy, likely the opening day starter for the Kansas City Royals again this year, and kind enough to join us on a day that he pitched, which is, we appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, we really do. A class individual. You could hear him, and almost the feelings and the comfort level, or being uncomfortable about losing some of his brothers that were in the clubhouse. It meant so much to him.
Myers with a broken bat. Soft liner. It's going to fall in for a base hit. From third comes Margot, and the Padres tie it up 3-3. 3 straight hits for the Padres. Margot, Galvis, and now Myers. And just like that, it's a tie game.
Yeah, leading it off with Margot. Then Galvis gets the one in the 3-hole, and this jams Will Myers. I love the fact that he's trying to use the big part of the field. We've seen a lot of right center approach. Fighting that one off. Even has to feel very good because the approach is definitely there.
Well, Salvador Perez using one of those visits to the mound here to talk to Trevor Oakes, his new pitcher after Danny Duffy left the game. Look at Trevor Oakes' numbers. 18 games of the 19 he appeared in were starts. 1-3 record, 3.83 earned run average. Last season in A and in AAA. Eric Hosmer standing in here against Oakes. Hosmer, who faced Danny Duffy in the second, popped out to short. So Duffy getting the better of that, and now facing Oakes here in his second plate appearance. Bats with Galvis at second, Myers at first, and Hosmer lays off that pitch, running away. Hosmer with 25 home runs, 94 runs batted in, and the .318 batting average in what worked out to be his last year in Kansas City with these Royals. Watching the Royals in the last couple of weeks of last year's season, and just got the feel they all knew that this was the end of what was a pretty incredible run there in Kansas City.
Yeah, I thought Ned Yost did a really good job. Obviously, the coaching staff was involved too, but taking those guys off the field and having them get the recognition that they deserve, because there was an uncertainty going into this offseason. If you were a Kansas City Royals fan, you almost assumed it was going to happen. But to give the tip of the cap, and I think Eric Hosmer was the class individual we've heard that he was, and now we get to see it. Did a classy move. He ended up putting into the newspaper last week his thanks to the fans of Kansas City, but also the organization, which really molded him into that individual.
Grounded to short. Escobar will go to second for one. On to first. That's two. On to third base goes Galvis, but a much needed double play there for Trevor Oakes. Now look at that newspaper article that he took out. You mentioned thanking the fans and Kansas City. Very classy move from a very classy guy.
Well, and you think about what you can do and how you can really put a proper thanks to the fans, because that is so important as a player. And Eric Hosmer understood that they went through a pretty good stretch, obviously losing the World Series and then the following year going in and winning a championship for that city.
Two down, runner at second, and Chase Headley will hit a fly ball to left. Gordon has it slicing away from him, but he goes and gets it to end the inning. Padres going to run back, tie the score 3-3 at the end of 3 from Peoria. From Peoria Stadium, and it's great to have with us special assistant to baseball operations, Mark Loretta from the dugout. Mark, how you doing?
Good, well, boys. How are you?
Very good. How's spring treating you so far as we get into games here now, and really earlier than ever before, but getting games going?
Yeah, it's going to be strange to start the season in March this year, which is a first that I've ever heard of. But yeah, the guys didn't have a lot of time before the game, so you've kind of seen some of the veterans kind of ease into it, like Hosmer and Headley and those guys. But it's been great so far. A lot of young players we've gotten to see on the field so far for us.
Mark, you spent 15 years in the big leagues, obviously different organizations. Speak to the oddness of Eric Hosmer going over from one organization he knew for 10 years to a new one.
It was always you know, kind of bittersweet, I think, to leave your first organization. You feel like you've grown up in that organization. You know, I know Hos was drafted out of high school with them. But you saw how much the fans, there's a number of Royal fans here that gave a nice ovation when he was introduced and when he came up for his first at bat. So I don't think there's a lot of hard feelings there, and people understand the business part of the game, and we're thrilled to have it.
Do you have the same kind of thing when you went back to Milwaukee for the first time?
Not quite as big as that, yeah. But a little bit, yeah. Yes, Milwaukee.
Well, I want to ask you about, you know, this starting so early and everything else. It seems like a lot of the drills that normally take place during spring training had to be shelved a little bit till some of the mornings of game days now, just because you didn't have that extra workout time. That's right. Yeah, no question about it. And it's also been very cold out here, unseasonably cold the first couple of weeks. So I think Andy's moved a couple of workouts, you know, later on in the day. But guys are here early. I mean, I get here about 6:20, 6:30. There's already guys in the cage, believe it or not, in the dark and under the lights hitting. So guys are working hard. They're getting after it. It's good to see this young influx of talent come through.
Mark, you came up as a shortstop and then transitioned into being a second baseman primarily at the end of your career, but you understand the importance of the middle infield. Freddie Galvis coming over from Philadelphia, what does that do for this club, and what can the fans expect?
Yeah, I think he just really solidifies the infield swings. You see he makes a nice play there. He's just an excellent defender, and I've been impressed with his bat. He's handled it well. He's a switch hitter. Last at bat, he hit the ball in the hole there with a man on first, get to first and third, and real good presence too. I know he's been well received by the guys in this team. Not just the Latin guys. I mean, obviously he speaks good English and Spanish, and he's been a real positive influence so far.
What are your thoughts on Luis Urias so far, getting a lot of chance to play here during the spring so far?
Yeah, I love this guy. I mean, I've seen him now for 3 or 4 years, and he can really hit. I mean, but he's got that big leg kick, but he can put wood on a bullet. It seems like he's never out front. He keeps his hands back, and he's probably hit 4 or 5 balls in the gap already this spring, and he's really showing well.
You have to be very excited about what you're seeing here from a lot of the young guys you've seen over the years in the minor leagues who are now starting to get a chance here in big league camp.
Yeah, it's fun. In the position that I'm in, it's fun to see them, go through the Fort Waynes and the Lake Elsinore's and kind of move up the chain. And, real excited about like Luis and Tatis and some of these, high-name guys. But, I think you see that MLB ranked our farm system as #1 today. So it's very deep. It's not just the big names you hear about. There's guys that are farther down the prospect list, quote unquote, but they're heck of players too. So we're real excited about the depth of this group.
Mark Loretta kind enough to join us here with one away in the 4th inning. Alcides Escobar batting. Have you seen much of a change in Andy Green coming in here for his 3rd year as a manager? It seems like every year he seems a little more comfortable coming into camp.
Yeah. Well, he's a confident guy, and he's a very good communicator. But I think what I have noticed, he's starting to, delegate a little bit more, a little more often. I think at first when you're a young new manager, you feel like you got to do everything, and I think Andy has learned and is doing a real nice job of delegating to his coaches. Very talented coaching staff. Up and down the line with the addition of Skip Schumacher, of course, Mark McGuire, Darren Balsley. All these guys have a wealth of information, and I think Andy is really doing a good job of letting them do their jobs.
Mark, this year we're going to probably honor the Hall of Famer Trevor Hoffman. Your impressions and your thoughts when you heard the news of Trevor going into the Hall of Fame. You're a good friend of his.
Yeah, you are too, Sweens, and it just gave you chills. Even though we had a pretty good idea and hoped that he would get in. I think when you heard the news live on MLB Network and saw him take the call at his house and all that, it was really special. What a great guy. He's probably a better person than player, and really proud to be a teammate of his and a good friend.
Well, Mark, we appreciate it very much. Great to see you, and thanks for joining us.
Good to see you guys. All right, enjoy the spring.
Mark Loretta, Special Assistant Baseball Operations, joining us today from Peoria Sports Complex as spring training rolls along here for the Padres, and does such a great job. Enjoyed watching him play back when he was a major leaguer.
Yeah, I got to play with him a couple places in Milwaukee and also San Diego, and really evolved his career. But
Galvis off the glove, kind of clanked it into left field. Looked like he had that sized up, but couldn't make the catch, and Dozier will reach.
Well, almost seemed like he wanted to slide and throw and possibly double up the runner at first base, but you can see going off the edge of his glove. You think about Mark Loretta too. He's a special assistant to the general manager, but he has a lot of influence on this whole organization. He's around San Diego, he's around A.J. Preller and the rest of the gang, but also goes into the minor leagues and sees some of these younger players, has communication with them, and really puts another set of eyes that when you play 15 years in the big leagues, that influence is there. Conversations he can have with some younger players. It comes with credibility for Mark Loretta, and an added asset that this organization has.
I had the chance to be around him in 2006 for a full season, and you talk about great teammates. That's all you heard about from his teammates was how a great teammate he was.
Goes to Boston, and you wonder how he's going to transform into the type of player. It becomes an all-star in Boston. So one of those players that really could do everything well. Obviously wasn't a plus runner, and I think he'd be the first one to say that, but this was a guy that could just manipulate the baseball, give you a solid at bat, prototypical #2 hitter back in his era. When they had to move runners, they had to be able to hit behind runners. Had the ability to do that with his bat. .295 career average, and I think that's something that's going to be very difficult to match.
Tom Wilhelmsen comes into the game here. Former Seattle Mariner, certainly comfortable with Peoria. And trying to catch on here with the Padres. Getting an appearance. Third arm used today by Andy Green. As that pitch in the dirt to Ramon Torres. A veteran right-hander, tall veteran right-hander. Wilhelmsen, 34 years of age, resides here in Peoria. So yeah, he's comfortable here in Peoria.
He should. Probably owns Applebee's. Yeah. That's a comfort level.
Listed at 6'6", 220 pounds. Last year, 27 relief appearances out of the Diamondbacks bullpen. 4.44 earned run average. Made the opening day roster last year for Arizona. Ground ball towards shortstop. Galvis, a bobble there for a second to second for one, on to first, and it's a double play. They still get it done. 4-6 to 3 on the Twin killing. Game tied 3-3 after 3.5.
You're going to hear that a lot. A guy that hits off the fastball, location-wise off fastball, hit off your strength. Means you're having a game plan, not giving in, making him. Pitchers are going to make mistakes, so there's no need to be in a hurry. If it means you're taking a fastball out or half, it's not your pitch you want to drive, you take it. Another thing is working gap to gap. Another thing you're going to hear a lot about.
Well, I think we're going to hear a lot about it, and it is true. He said it a lot already this year. There's a different thought process for hitters, different philosophies for hitters now coming up for the Padres. We have seen it during the spring. It's working.
Yeah, and you're going to hear that Canadian accent, which I absolutely love. But Matt Stairs, listen, he has the passion to do it, but you're hearing a lot of this, which I think is important.
Ground ball right side into right field for Perella, and Perella is aboard to begin things here in the fourth inning.
I think it's so important for a hitting coach to be very positive. He is very positive throughout the camp, and he says, you know what, I have to make sure that these guys know I'm on their side. That being said, he says a really good thing, go to your strength. And so many guys try to get forced out of their strength because of the pitching, the velocity that's going on. I think Matt Stairs is a perfect complement for these guys. He's worked in Philadelphia with some young hitters. He has Freddie Galvis here as an example because he came from Philadelphia. So sending that message, but also having the positive attitude through these guys, because it's a struggle and you have to uplift a lot of hitters.
And he did what we do, a broadcaster here. He was a broadcaster for the Philadelphia Phillies, did pre and post in Boston as well, as you mentioned, from Fredericton, Ontario, Canada. And Yes, we will get used to that Canadian accent.
I love it.
It's awesome.
I'm pretty sure Matt Stairs is a guy that doesn't really prefer putting makeup on, so he probably wanted to get back in that.
I can't even imagine that, actually, now that I know. I'm thinking back to it. He did, absolutely.
Yes, he did.
It's not comfortable.
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's the worst part of our day.
Back to the screen, especially the studio. You gotta have it in the studios. Too many lights.
The lighting is
It's
ridiculous.
HD does not do announcers any favors. Trust me.
It doesn't.
It's a great invention. Not so much for us.
Yes, but Matt Stairs does a lot of favors for this organization, and he's made an impact already.
Austin Hedges with his second plate appearance walked his first time up. Did he go? No.
You know, you think about it, Don, and he talks about this, and a message he wants to send is don't give at bats away. And it might sound pretty simple, but mentally you give at bats away. You're taking fastballs when you don't want to be sitting on a breaking ball. That's giving at bats away.
Lined into right field, opposite field, base hit for Hedges. Bonifacio over to play it as Perella flying around the bases, gets to third on the base hit to right. And the Padres have runners at the corners with nobody out here in the fourth inning.
Well, Austin Hedges has done so many great things. Watch his head. He sets it, reaches out, and puts that foot down, but he's hitting behind the baseball. The direction of his path of his bat is right through that, the line drive stroke. To me, that's one of my favorite swings he's taken all spring, and he's got 3 home runs to his name.
So first and third, nobody out, and Villanueva coming up, and this one gets by Salvador Perez to the backstop, and from third comes Perella, and the Padres take the lead 4-3. Wild pitch uncorked there by Trevor Oakes, gets to the backstop, and the Padres back on top again. Moving up to second was Hedges on the wild pitch. Villanueva gets buzzed on a pitch inside. 2-0. A double to drive in a pair in the second inning. Scoring Perella and Hedges. And at the time, giving the Padres a 2-0 lead. That was against the starter today for the Royals, Danny Duffy. Hedges at second, nobody out, a run in for San Diego. And for Oakes, his 25th pitch of relief, and that's ball 4, a 4-pitch walk to Villanueva.
Sunday on Fox, the Monster Energy Cup Series heads west to Vegas as Martin Truex Jr. looks to defend last year's win. All the action starts at noon Pacific on Fox, or stream it live on Fox Sports Go.
2 on, nobody out, and Luis Urias coming up here now. Flied out to center field first time up. Spending all of last year in San Antonio, 118 games at Double-A and hitting at 296. Another visit to the mound here for Salvador Perez. That is 2.
That'll cost him.
Not that we're counting or anything.
No, we're not counting. Don't count cards either.
They've got Scott Barlow up in the pen right now to the Royals.
Oh, you heard Mark Loretta talk very highly of Luis Urias, and that this is something that he's really opening eyes early in this camp, but I think that they really realized what they had. It's a matter of how he places himself on this roster.
Check swing foul to the end of the Padres dugout. Well, he's 20 years old, and that's one of the factors. You have to believe that his youth is one of the issues. But as Mark Loretta said, this guy can hit.
Yes, he can.
Near 300 last year in Double-A. Double-A seems to me, as you look over the course of each level, and obviously each level gets tougher, but Double-A, if you're doing that at Double-A, that's a pretty good indicator that you can do it.
It is, because many of the prospects really find themselves in Double-A.
Line and off the glove of Escobar at short, kicks out to center, and everybody's going to be safe. Looked like Escobar is going to make that play, but it glances off his glove and into center field.
Well, if you watch Urias out at batting practice, it doesn't wow you. But when he gets in the game, Mark Loretta said he likes to square it up, and he squares a lot of balls up. Escobar probably should have caught this. Probably would have double play because you see Hedges getting off in an uncomfortable spot. Just slides into third base. He knows he would have probably been doubled up if that ball's caught.
Two pretty short-handed shortstops today, and Galvis and Escobar both have made similar plays that they thought they should have made and had a glance off their glove on line drives. Still nobody out. Bases loaded now for the Padres, and the top of the order, Manuel Margot. 1 for 2 on the afternoon. And he singled to left in the third, came around to score. The Padres' third run, which at the time tied the score. I don't know about you, but I'm expecting big things from Margot this year.
I absolutely love him, and I've been asked a bunch by Padre fans, so who's your favorite player? It's easy answer is Manny Margot. Missed a month of the season last year, but I thought he showed very well in his first year at an early age.
Chopped up over the mound slowly. Merrifield's throw to first is going to be late. Run will score. Everybody's safe, and the Padres take a 5-3 lead. Kind of a do-or-die play for Merrifield coming in. The ball was in the air forever on that chop out to second base.
I don't know if this hit off the plate, but even in front of home plate, tends to be a little bit hard down here in Arizona. 2 strikes, and as soon as this was elevated in the air, you knew Merrifield didn't have a very good opportunity to get Manny Margot. See the swing off the plate, putting his head down and knowing he has to beat that out.
Hedges coming in from third with the 5th Padres run of the day. Galvis, the recipient of strike 1. Galvis has flied to center and singled to right. Third plate appearance of the day for the Padres shortstop. It's been a battle here for Trevor Oaks. Gave up a run in the third and so far has been touched for 2 here in the 4th inning in relief of Danny Duffy today. Down the left field line and foul. 12 home runs last year for Galvis, 61 runs driven in, a .255 average for a guy who played in every game last year for the Philadelphia Phillies. Turned out to be his last year in Philadelphia. To center field. Orlando out there, back at step 2, makes the catch. Tagging in third is Villanueva. He will score, and the Padres take a 6-3 lead. A sacrifice fly for Freddie Galvis. That is just the first out of the inning. So 6-3 Padres. 1 down, runners at first and second. And it brings up Will Myers, the former Royals farmhand. 1 for 2. Fly to right in the first, single to left to drive in a run in the third. We've talked a lot about Eric Hosmer, but we haven't really talked about what it means to Will Myers, and to me it would mean a great deal. Have another guy in the lineup, a little bit of protection for him in the lineup where he may not have had that much over the last couple seasons.
Well, also balance in the lineup, having a left-hander and a right-hander that splits them up middle of the order. I think a lot of managers like that. But I think it's going to take a little pressure off of Will Myers. He's going to be able to go out there and do his thing. Yes, he has some adjustments to make in the outfield, but the presence behind you really comes into play in these big situations of the game. Runners in scoring position. And then you can start looking for a plan. I think Will got himself into a rut last year where he was just swinging, and that started festering a little bit and snowballing on him, and in my opinion became less of a hitter. I think the focus now is that right center approach and driving runs in.
Let's check in with Bob Scanlon.
You know, Don and Sweens, you're exactly right. When you look at Will Myers so far this spring, almost everything he has hit has been to the right side. He has really been focusing on driving the ball into that right center field gap. And the other thing that he's been working with Matt Stairs on is trying to be a little bit slower, a little bit calmer at the plate. As you notice, he's not quite as antsy as he was last year. He's seen the ball a little bit better, and so far good results this spring.
Scan, do you feel like he did or tried to do too much last year, trying to do it all himself?
No question. He put a lot on his shoulders. He tried to be the man, and you know, that's a lot to take on under any circumstances, especially as a young player. And to his credit, he did the best he could with it without a whole lot of protection behind him in the lineup. And I think we're seeing a more mature Will Myers personally. And as you guys were talking about, having Eric Hosmer here to take some of that pressure off as well, I think helps.
Well, Ned Yost making his way out there, the manager for the Royals. Trevor Oakes has struggled in better part of an inning and a third here. And they have had action in the pen, and Yost will make a pitching change. So the Padres have scored 3 times so far in the inning now of his 6-3 lead. The pitching change from Peoria. With Scott Barlow into the game now for Kansas City, takes over for Trevor Oakes, responsible for the 3 men on. Padres have the bases loaded, and the numbers for Barlow splitting time between AA and AAA. 160 strikeouts for him a year ago.
He's making his second appearance in the spring.
Worked as a starter in AA and AAA a year ago. Eric Hosmer coming up here with 1 out in the inning. Bases filled with Padres. Urias at third, Margot at second, Myers at first. And Hosmer grounds one softly towards first base. Hunter Dozier will flip to the covering pitcher. Run scores. In from third is Urias. And the Padres pick up their 7th run. Eric Hosmer gets an RBI. What has been a 4-run bottom of the 4th inning so far for San Diego. Runners move up with Margot taking third base. Myers takes second, and here is Chase Headley, 9th member of the Padres to bat in the inning. Headley today has grounded to short and flied to left, 0 for 2. Headley, 33 years of age, came over with Brian Mitchell back to the Padres, and the deal that involved Jabari Blash, who did not stay as a Yankee for very long.
It's with the Angels back in Southern California.
1-1. He was going to miss for ball 2. And Headley, of course, breaking into the big leagues with the Padres in 2007. Member of the Padres from 07 through 2014. Before going to New York for parts of 4 seasons with the Yankees.
Yeah, I think Chase understands too. He's coming here in his second go-around with the Padres. That it's more of a leadership role. I think it's a little bit easier coming from New York, seeing some of the examples in front of him that were leaders in that clubhouse. Now embracing that role.
On the ground and to the backhand at second base. Merrifield off balance throw and a good one to first base to retire Headley and to end the inning. But the Padres score 4 times, take a 7-3 lead to the 5th inning.
And Hoff was more than open of letting me carry on that number, and like I told him, I'll wear it with pride each and every day, and it's something that myself and the core guys of Kansas City, I think want to continue to make sure Giordano's legacy is lived out.
Pretty special, and very special for Glenn Hoffman to have given up that number to Eric Hosmer coming to the organization, but he understood the importance for Hosmer to be able to do that, to honor his late teammate, Giordano Ventura.
Yeah, and Giordano Ventura meant a lot to that organization. Obviously a devastating tragedy, but he heard about the core group and having a different purpose of what's in front of you. Yes, you're afforded a big contract, but there's a different purpose of what you're wearing for a number and how you're going to continue that legacy that Ventura did for the organization. I thought it was a classy move and really shows what Eric Hosmer is as a person.
And of course, the number that he did wear in Kansas City not available on the Padres.
Well, Randy Jones, 35.
That's why it's unavailable.
And there's not many retired numbers.
No.
So you would think that would be available, and it just worked out that way. But listen, a number's a number to a lot of people, but there's a lot of guys that change teams that demand that type of number. But I just love the purpose. And
how big a deal is it for you, a number? I mean, what did it mean to you?
To me, it meant an opportunity, and it didn't matter what number it was. I make jokes of it because I did, but I had an opportunity late in my career where in Los Angeles, I was wearing number 22, and Clayton Kershaw wanted number 22. That was when he first came up. Knew he was going to be in the organization a lot longer than I was. But I had an opportunity to wear number 21. No one had 21, and I did it for the late Ken Caminetti. I thought the world of Ken Caminetti, and I wanted to do that. So if you have a purpose, it's really what it's all about. It's the history of the game and what people meant to you. Eric Hosmer understands what Ventura meant to this organization, and I think it's a perfect way to transform himself into a Padre and feel good about it.
Clayton Kershaw give you a Rolex for that number?
No, I'm still waiting on that. I think it's in the mail.
You got nothing?
I got nothing. I got nothing. I got to watch him
in your number.
In the number that was given to me. I won't say my number.
Oh, no, that was Mark Sweeney's number.
Yeah.
Fly ball shallow left, and Pirela coming in to make the catch, build the cap high for out number 2.
I think he let me hold his Cy Young awards, and that was good enough.
Well, he turned out to be pretty good.
He has a chance to continue that.
Yeah. So 2 down. Jonathan Aro into the game here now for the Padres. 6-1, 3.16 earned run average last year, AAA. Had a couple of outings during the spring so far out of the pen. And takes over for Tom Wilhelmsen, who pitched the 4th inning. Aro out there now for the 5th, has a strikeout and a flyout. Dealing with Jorge Bonifacio once again. And a liner down the left field line. That'll get in. Fair ball to the track of the wall. Bonifacio's headed for 2. And he'll get to second base standing with a 2-out double. His 2nd extra base hit of the day. Hit a 3-run home run in the 3rd. Now adds a double to his resume today.
So if you don't have an undershirt, you better rake. And we saw the 3-run homer, and he follows that up with a double. He's feeling sexy in that uni. Yeah, he's got Mr. T starter kit bouncing all over the place. Gotta love that.
Well, it's a warm day here. I mean, you don't want too many layers.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Salvador Perez will take a strike.
I didn't hit a 3-run homer and a ringing double.
Perez has struck out swinging, popped out to second base. Now lines one down the left field line, foul down towards the corner, and the 340 marker will bang around down there, but a foul ball for Perez. Wilhelmsen went an inning of relief. Came in for Buddy Bauman. Gave up a hit, no runs, a walk, and no strikeouts. Able to get Ramon Torres to ground into a double play that ended the 4th inning. Brian Mitchell started today for San Diego. 2 innings, 1 hit. No runs, a walk, and a K.
Obviously, health is the key. But if you think about from Andy's perspective, Andy Green's perspective, he's going to have some options in the bullpen. Not only are they going to make the roster, but I think AAA, possibly AA, are going to have some options to help them during the year.
High fly ball out toward deep left center field. Pirela going back. So is Margot, and that ball is gone into the berm. A 2-run shot for Salvador Perez, and Kansas City now trailing 7-5. Perez had been 0 for 2, but he hits one out of the yard to left center.
Oh, you see him go down and get that one. Might have been an off speed, maybe a changeup. I'm sure he probably had some words for his former teammate Eric Hosmer as he rounded the bases there. Not known for his speed, so he has a slower trot.
Jorge Soler 0 for 2 today. Flying out to center field in the 1st. Struck out looking in the 3rd. Another pop-up foul backing out of play. Lined and a fair ball up over the outstretched glove of Tatis at 3rd. Over is Pirela. Heading for 2 is Soler. Throw will go to 3rd, and a double for Soler. All of a sudden here, after 2 quick outs, the Royals putting together a double, a home run, and yet another double.
All over the outstretched arms, just into left field. Extending this inning for the Royals. They're making it interesting.
Pretty good ups there for Tatis. Got high in the air there at third base, but couldn't reel it in. Took over at third base last inning for Chase Headley. Now Orlando, the swing and a miss for strike one.
I've seen Tatis Jr. at shortstop. Also now the versatility going into third base. With that body and the projectable body, a lot of people say he could possibly move off of shortstop. I think a lot of that has to do with what your depth is as an organization.
There's a pop-up right side as Urias, few strides on the outfield grass, battling the sun, but makes the catch that ends the inning. A 2-run home run for Salvador Perez gets the Royals closer, 7-5 San Diego.
Lead over the Royals right now as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. I'm joined by Chase Headley. Chase, great to see you back in a Padres uniform, my friend.
Yeah, it's great to be back.
How's it feeling? How's the finger feeling, first of all? You jammed it a couple of days ago. You getting back on track?
It's getting there. You know, it's thrown me off a couple days, you know, a little bit behind where I'd ultimately like to be, but there's enough time to catch up, so it's making progress.
We were kind of joking earlier, it might have been the perfect injury in that it delays you a little bit for a veteran player. Spring training can get a little bit long. How do you pace yourself?
Yeah, I think, you know, just trying to make sure you get quality work and not overdo the quantity because, you know, it's a wear and tear sport, and the more that you go out there and just, you know, grind on yourself, it can get tedious. So just try to get quality works and cut down the reps a little bit.
Chase, you spent 8 years in the Padres organization. You take a little hiatus, you head over to the East Coast for a little while. Good to feel to be back. I mean, the trade might have been a little bit of a shock, but happy to be back in San Diego.
Yeah, it's awesome. A lot of great memories in San Diego, and sometimes I think you appreciate places more when you go somewhere else. And you know, I'm really excited to be back here. I'm really excited to help these guys hopefully take the next step and you know, go out there and surprise some people because I think we have a pretty good club.
You know, it's quite an experience playing in New York. It's a big stage. A lot of people wilt under the pressure. You didn't. You put up similar numbers there as you did here in San Diego. Your thoughts on being able to perform on that big stage?
Well, there's definitely accountability there. You know, it's one of those things that you just have to be honest with yourself and honest with everybody else. But, you know, I think guys that can go there and be comfortable with who they are can go out there and perform the way they're capable of. And I think when you leave there, you get a little bit tougher. It definitely is a little bit tougher in other places to play.
You got a chance to get the playoff experience over there as well. What does that mean, and what can you share with that in terms of these young players?
Yeah, I think it's huge. You know, that was my first real experience in the playoffs, and to go as deep as we did was tremendous. And I think it just, you know, once you get there, you understand what to expect. And I think you can relay those things to guys, so when they get there for the first time, maybe it's not as shocking as it would be, you know, otherwise.
Chase, he had a great second half of the season last year, hit 300. Taking that momentum into the start this year?
Well, I hope so. Yeah, I mean, it's always hard to say whether you can carry momentum from the end of the year to the next year. But I think, you know, just building on knowing that what you're capable of, that confidence sometimes can help. So, you know, I know what I need to do, and hopefully I can come out and perform the way I know I can.
Chase, great to see you back. Thanks for the time. Chase Chase Headley back in a Padres uniform, guys. Feeling good, getting ready for opening day. Back over to you.
All right, Scan, thanks very much. Fun having him around here again in a Padres uniform. Chase Headley and getting today's work out of the way for him.
You know what, I think also Chase is going to bring a little more versatility. Last time just a third baseman when he was in a Padre uniform before. He can play a little more first base, which he did for the Yankees a little bit. So that gives you that dynamic. Because you think about Christian Villanueva, he's forcing the issue a little bit here.
Hedges turns on this, sends it deep and far down the left field line. Will it be fair? It will be. A home run. Home run number 4 of the spring for Austin Hedges. And the beat goes on for the Padres catcher. This is unbelievable. Few adjustments during the offseason, and it has been tremendous for him so far during the spring. Yet another home run for Hedges.
Austin Babe Hedges out of spring training. It's a mistake you could see leaking in, but keeping the ball fair really has shortened his swing so well. You could see how deep that ball is. He's got the power, but a natural swing there.
Ends up in the pavilion area and then some.
He's just keeping the pace. Like I said, 170 home runs he's on pace for.
Wait a minute. He hit a home run and now he's down from 180 to 170?
Well, I forgot which number I put on it. We'll keep it 180.
I would thought his pace would improve, but apparently he's lost some
it's
ground
4
on
games, 4 homers. You got 162 games.
Yeah.
That is so nice. I did short him 10 homers, didn't I?
You took 10 away.
Sorry, Austin.
Yeah, this one is headed out to left field, deep and far, and that ball is gone. Christian Villanueva, second hit of the day, third time he's been on, and the Padres go back-to-back with home runs. Hedges, then Villanueva, and San Diego on top now 9-5.
Guys are having a friendly competition between each other. Austin Hedges, Christian Villanueva. Watch this beautiful swing. Wow. When you get a mistake, you got to deposit it, and that's exactly what Villanueva does. 9 hits in spring already.
Orioles outfield just kind of turned and watched that one leave.
Had the grand slam yesterday, double today in his first at bat, now a homer.
Luis Urias has flied out to center and singled and takes the strike, down 0-2. Back-to-back home runs, Hedges and Villanueva here in the 5th inning. Padres have scored in every inning but the first. Impressed with how patient Urias has been at the plate for a young hitter.
Has a really good understanding of the strike zone. I think that's where you're encouraged. Where we talk about the bat to ball skills, but you have to stay in the strike zone.
Watches that one sail out of the strike zone, able to hold up. Urias hits one slowly towards third baseman Torres. He won't have a play. Urias beats it out. Not hit hard, kind of rolled down that third base line and able to beat it out at first base. An infield hit. 4th hit of the inning now for the Padres. Not for the caught stealing. They would have more runs here in the inning. Urias at first base, 1 down, top of the order, Manuel Margot. 2 hits today himself. 1 to left and 1 to second base. Throw to first, and Urias back to the bag. Padres have banged out 13 hits today. Only in the 5th inning. There's a strike over the outside corner. Looks like Javi Guerra has come out on deck. He would pinch hit for Freddie Galvis. There is Javi Guerra. He and Tatis have been sharing time at shortstop after Freddie Galvis leaves the game here during the spring. This will get away. Trying for second as Urias' throw is not going to be in time. Wild pitch charge to Scott Barlow that allows Urias to take second base.
You know, Don, the stages in spring training, we touched on it our last broadcast. I think the pitchers have the edge at the beginning of spring training. Now it's starting to, the guys are starting to get their timing. Younger hitters are locked in because they have to. And then you start seeing the pitchers start getting their consistency with their breaking ball. Everything starts ironing out just a little bit as spring training goes along.
Chopper to third. Torres on the half hop makes the good hard throw across the diamond. Retires Margot, but reaching at third base is Urias with now 2 down.
A nice play by Torres coming in and gloving that. Not an easy play. It looked easy.
So Javi Guerra will come up here. That's a day for Freddie Galvis. Nice play by Torres, throwing on the run. Guerra coming off the bench into this game here in the 5th inning with 2 down and 2 runs in. Blocked nicely by Valoria. To his right, able to block that. Took over for Salvador Perez. An inning ago and making a good block. Ball to strike now to Guerra. Guerra's 22 from Panama. Came over with Manuel Margot. Carlos Eswaje in exchange for Craig Kimbrell. Tried to hold up, but goes around.
You know, Don came with a lot of hype when it came to acquiring him in that trade. I think this was the player that I think the Padres really wanted to take that next step. He hasn't done that yet, but he has the ability.
Split the season last year between Lake Elsinore and San Antonio, and strikes out here to end the inning. But the Padres get 2 runs. They had back-to-back home runs in the inning. Austin Hedges with his 4th home run of the spring, followed up by Christian Villanueva. Back-to-back go the Padres, who lead it 9-5 after 5 from Peoria. Of life for Dick Enberg at Petco Park in San Diego. We'll have it for you right here on Fox Sports San Diego. That'll begin at 10 a.m. on what is a big day here at Fox Sports San Diego. At noon, we'll have the Cleveland Indians against the San Diego Padres, and then after the game, 3 p.m. Padres season preview, and that will follow the Indians and Padres. And Dick Enberg's celebration of life. Well, looking forward to that on March the 10th. At Petco Park in San Diego for the Hall of Fame broadcaster Dick Enberg. Now to the 6th inning we go, and Michael Marriott comes into the game now for the Padres. He is pitcher number 5 of the day.
Heard he doesn't get Marriott rewards points. He does get water and cracker as he comes into the hotels.
I don't know if you noticed, but it's spelled a little differently.
Oh,
yeah.
Maybe that's the reason why he doesn't get any points.
Pretty sure it's not related. Last year, AAA 7-2, the 4.42 earned run average. The city's Escobar, the first batter that Marriott will face. And a fastball riding up and in. Takes over for Jonathan Aro, who ended up going an inning, giving up 3 hits and 2 runs. Didn't walk anybody, struck out a batter. Escobar, Dozier, and Torres scheduled to bat here for Kansas City. Padres have some other changes we'll tell you about here as the inning goes on. Popped up foul in behind the Padres dugout, first base way. Franchy Cordero has taken over in center field for the Padres. And Travis Jankowski is now in left field. There's Franchy Cordero in center. There is Travis Jankowski, seeing the bulk of his time in spring training in center. Coming into the game in left field for Perella. Swing and a miss. Escobar just waving at that pitch. He was badly fooled at the breaking ball, and he strikes out for the first out of the 6th inning.
Watch the slider out of Marriott's hands. Very good slider in the depth. Fooling Escobar.
One down in the 6th, and it brings up Hunter Dozier. He is grounded out to third base and singled to left. New shortstop, 2 for the Padres. Freddie Galvis out of the game, and now it is Javi Guerra who pinch hit and stays in the game at shortstop. They play for Dozier to go the other way in the outfield as he takes strike 2. There is Franchy Cordero, center fielder over towards right center. Lots of green grass in left center. An option for Hunter Dozier. He's down to count 1-2 and strikes out. Fastball. Chases that one running away. Back-to-back Ks for Marriott, 2 down.
Baseball fans, plan your trip to spring training in Peoria now and see your 2018 Padres. This year celebrates the team's 25th year in Peoria, Arizona. Grab tickets today at padres.com/spring training.
2 down here in the 6th, and it brings up Ramon Torres. Last game that I did with Mark Grant, he was talking about how much this Peoria area has really built up over the years. It wasn't much here before.
It used to be you would have a couple restaurants. Krispy Kreme Donuts was here, which was really huge for us.
It's good.
But even the facility is really upgraded. Obviously the stadium here, the main stadium that houses both the Padres and the Mariners. But the facilities in the backfields, they have done a tremendous job. And really fan-friendly. The beauty of spring training is how the connection really starts with the fans and being able to come over here and have personal conversations with the players after they do their work or during batting practice. This has a good feel, and I tell everyone, if you can bring your kids over and enjoy this, it's really the connection that you get. And I think a lot of the players don't feel the pressure that they typically have in a regular season, which is a little bit easier to do, but really get that personal connection. Get to go out and get tickets and be out in the outfield grass on days like this.
Yeah, a little different mindset, especially for the guys who know they're on the team than the guys who are here trying to get jobs, and a little more relaxed, a little more casual atmosphere here than during the regular season. As you mentioned, the pressures of the regular season, they're pretty tough day in and day out.
And the best part of it, too, is going along with that, you're able to see a lot of different teams that are in such a small area. You've been in spring trainings in Florida where you have those long trips. The connection is here because you can watch them work out in the morning, get on a bus, and it's usually right around a half hour, maybe 45 minutes.
At most,
and you can see another ball game.
Torres pops it up. Left side, the new shortstop, Javi Guerra, will put it away, and Michael Marriott has a nice 1-2-3 6th inning. 5.5 done, 9-5 Padres. Schedule highlights for the Padres coming up. Of course, the opener against the Brewers at Petco Park, March 29th through the 31st. One of the earlier start times ever in Major League Baseball. Then the world champion Astros. Padres will be at Houston. Of course, the Dodgers and Padres will play a series in Monterrey, Mexico, May 4th through the 6th, 7th through the 15th of May. Homestand that'll feature the Nationals, the Cardinals, and the Rockies. And the Cubs will be in July 13th through the 15th. The Angels in interleague play coming from Anaheim, 13th through the 15th of August. And then the Mariners are back on the Padres schedule. Of course, they share the spring training complex together and always enjoy going to Seattle, which we will as well this year, but they're also coming to Petco Park.
Have you brushed up on your Spanish? A little Rosetta Stone maybe in the offseason?
Gonna need to. I have not been to Monterrey before. We were in Mexico City for spring training 2 years ago. The Padres and Astros played 2-game series there, and now going back here to Monterrey, Mexico for a series against the Dodgers. 3 games.
Ball tends to fly down there a little bit more, right? In Mexico City?
Wow. Jabari Blanchett, one of the longest home runs I've ever seen in my life. And Mexico City, it was an absolute blast. It was an Easter Sunday, in fact.
What will you do? Because I know you like to cook. Are you going to be?
That's a tough one. I'll tell you what, I really enjoyed the food when we were in Mexico City because a lot of good restaurants around the hotel. I'm sure Monterrey will be very similar.
I'm a big street taco fan.
Oh, yeah.
You like those?
Yeah, absolutely. I like food in general. You don't get to look like I do without liking food a lot.
I know we've talked on the other broadcasts too. I mean, you put on a show with the stuff that you can create in your room.
Well, I'm limited. I have 2 burners. I don't have a full oven, so it's like kind of an episode of Chopped every night where I have to figure out what I'm going to do on my 2 burners every night for dinner. I don't want to eat out all spring.
I don't think a lot of people know that you created a tomato sauce early in camp and froze it. That's how impressive it is. Thinking ahead.
Yeah. I have 5 jars of sauce. That means 5 meals of sauce at some point during the spring.
And you did a shrimp scampi the other night that I was so impressed. I didn't eat it, but I was so impressed with the picture that you sent. Then last night you busted out a little salmon.
Seared salmon last night. Whatever you can do on 2 little burners you can make, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying not to eat out this spring.
I smell a food segment.
I don't know.
Well, I don't want to stir things up, but I also heard
Hosmer down the line at first base into the right field corner. Hosmer headed for 2. Bonifacio looking to dig it out, and digging his way to second base is Hosmer. A 1-out double. First hit of the day for the former Royal. And that'll be the day for Hosmer.
Well, that has to feel good, too. Obviously, an awkward day for former team and playing them. 10 years in an organization, now signing a contract with the Padres, and it's a new way of life. But Eric Hosmer got through the day with a successful double to end his day.
Nice way to end the day. As he heads out. Still a pinch runner at second base here with 1 out.
Josh Naylor takes over for Eric Hosmer at second base.
Fernando Tatis Jr. batting for the first time. Took over for Chase Headley defensively. A lot of changes defensively for the Royals. Whole new outfield for them. Donner Deweese is taken over in left field. Tyler Collins in center. And Michael Saunders in right field. 2-0 pitch and a swing and a miss for Tatis. He homered here in the first spring game of spring training into the bullpen in right field. And seen most of his time at shortstop, but today coming in at third base.
Yeah, and I like the last game. He started off slow in that game, but then ended up having 2 hits in 1 inning. A double and a single. He's starting to relax here, but he just has a presence in the batter's box. See him early in workouts and continuing to be in hitting groups with Eric Hosmer and being able to talk to him. Chase Headley. I think the organization's trying to manipulate some of these groups where you can have a veteran in those young guys hitting groups, have those discussions that are so needed.
To left field down the line as Deweese headed over. It's going to one-hop the wall. From second base, Naylor will score into second base with an RBI double. Goes Tatis, and the Padres take a 10-5 lead. Oh, well-struck ball this time to left field and pulled by Fernando Tatis.
Well, there's so many things to be impressed with this youngster. And why? Because he took a couple pitches early in the at-bat and found himself a fastball in. Perfect approach, sitting behind that baseball, drilling a one-hopper off the left field wall.
1 down in the inning. Runner at second base, so run in. And Travis Jankowski batting for the first time today. Took over in left field for Perella. Good day today for Perella. Defensively and at the plate, where he walked and singled twice to right field. Last year, 27 games in an injury-marred year after fracturing his foot. Travis hit at just 187. Finished the year in the big leagues with the Padres. to right field. Saunders coming in and over to make the catch. Kind of a late lunge there. Tagging at second and advancing to third standing is Tatis. So Jankowski flying out, but Tatis to third with now 2 down in the inning. And it'll bring up Austin Hedges.
Babe.
Wow. What a day he's had. Walk in the second, scored a run, single to right in the fourth, scored a run, and then a home run in the 5th inning, his 4th of the spring. Probably wants the regular season to start right now.
Yeah. He loves his approach. It has worked. It's simplified. He has slowed his hands down. There's minor adjustments, but he's having huge dividends early in this camp. What I think is essential is not necessarily results, but his work, what he does in the mornings, how he sets himself up to have continued success, but also extend those hot streaks. That's what he's doing now.
Is this something that Matt Stairs has implemented? Is this something he's done on his own?
I think it has a lot to do with Johnny Washington, the assistant hitting coach. He worked with him in the offseason. It's Matt Stairs' knowledge. But really comes down to it of how you can simplify your approach, and that works. I think a lot of young hitters come up to the big league level and they try to really make more of it than it really is. And when you watch some of the veteran hitters and they simplify it, even a batting practice is simplified, working balls all over the field, but having an approach and attack. But they're trying to find that works for them. I don't think Austin's yet found that yet. Now, Johnny Washington was the first base coach last year. He has switched roles and is the assistant hitting coach. I think he worked with him in the offseason, really tried to get that direction and that path of the bat that you can see right there is working for him. Last year, that same pitch would probably have been fouled off, swung around. And the adjustments now is he's direct path to that baseball.
Popped up back of first, short right field. Mejias, the second baseman out there on the short lawn and right, will make the catch, backpedaling that ends the inning. Padres out a run. To the 7th we go. 10-5 Padres. And day done for Salvador Perez and for Eric Hosmer. They will walk out together. And that right field line to the corner where both clubhouses are, the home facility and the visiting facility. And 2 former teammates, been through a lot in Kansas City and heading off today after a good day of spring training work.
You know, they continue to keep that bond that they created in the minor leagues and also at the big league level. You can see 2 guys that enjoy the game, but also huge people in the game of baseball.
That's pretty cool.
It really is.
Michael Marriott back on the mound here for the Padres. His second inning of relief. Had a very nice 6th inning, retiring the side in order, 2 strikeouts and a pop out. And dealing now at the top of the order, Tyler Collins going to lead it off. Changes for the Padres. Josh Naylor stays in the game at first base. Shane Peterson is now in left field. And Jankowski has moved from left to right. I don't remember seeing Travis Jankowski in right field before.
Well, I think that's going to be a common theme. If you're going to be a reserved outfielder, if everyone stays healthy, you're going to have to find a way, if you're Travis Jankowski, to play all 3 positions. We know he can play center field, and he's a very good center fielder, possibly be the best center fielder on the club. But with Manuel Margot manning center, you're going to have to be versatile. You're going to have to move around.
There's ball 4 and Collins down to first base.
Thanks to USAA, the official military appreciation partner of the Padres. All active duty, reserve, veteran, and retired military and their families receive 50% off tickets to all Sunday home games and 25% off tickets to all other games all season long. Tickets available at padres.com/military.
Lead runner on thanks to the base on balls for Collins. Now Michael Saunders.
Oh, seeing a good breaking ball by Marriott.
Had a good one today.
All right, after the pitch, let's check in with Bob Scanlon. Here you come, Bob.
Let's check in with Bob Scanlon.
Hey, thanks, guys. I'm joined here by Christian Villanueva. He's been swinging the hot bat, and David Longley's joining us as well. Christian, congratulations. You've just been swinging the bat. Unbelievable so far this spring training. The Grand Slam home run yesterday, home run today. How good are you feeling at the plate right now?
Me siento bien, he hecho buenos ajustes ahí. Estoy tratando de hacer swing a buenos picheos. Y pues la disciplina, estoy tratando de hacer swing a mi picheo, no a los pitchers, a los swings, a los picheos de los pitchers.
Hey. I'm feeling good right now. I feel like I made some adjustments, and I'm swinging good pitches. I'm making good decisions and really focused on my discipline. I'm not swinging pitches. I'm focusing on swinging at pitches I want.
Christian, you came into camp looking great, in great shape and everything. Tell us a little bit about your off-season routine to show up to camp ready to go.
Sí, estuve en San Diego todo este off-season. Desde noviembre 1 estuve viviendo en San Diego. Brett me ayudó mucho, cambió mucho mi físico. Me siento más atleta y pues siento que ha sido parte del éxito que estoy teniendo.
Yeah, I had a big offseason. I was in San Diego almost the entire offseason, starting November 1st. From there on out, I was working with Brett McKay, a strength coach, and he changed my body a lot. I think I've seen some really good stuff, and feeling more athletic. It's paid off so far.
Well, speaking of that athleticism, you're out of options right now. You're trying to make the team at third base, but you worked out at shortstop and second base a little bit today. What does that tell you in terms of how you might be able to help the team, and how did you feel working out at those other positions?
A mí me gusta mucho estar relajando ahí en otras posiciones. Disfruto mucho la defensa. El manager no me ha dicho nada de trabajar en otra posición. Ese fui yo solo a moverme ahí a jugar segundo un rato.
Yeah, I like to have fun out there when I'm playing defense. I love to play in the field, and I just went over there to get some reps. The manager hasn't told me anything about playing at any other positions. I was just doing that on my own.
All right, sounds good. Christian, congratulations. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Christian Villanueva having a hot spring so far, guys, trying to make the ball club. Back over to you.
All right, thanks very much, Scan. This one is sent out towards left center field. Cordero in center will make the catch. Looked like Peterson was not going to peel off there. He finally did.
You know, Don, a lot of credit goes to Brett McCabe. You heard him talk about just being an influence on Christian Villanueva and getting him ready. It's Brett McCabe and also a lot of the guys that work underneath him to get these guys ready, physically fit. It's not necessarily just in season. It has a lot to do with how you create yourself to go through the rigors of that long major league season. 162 games along with the spring training games.
He does look a lot different, too, coming in, as he is really in terrific shape this year in spring training.
I think that really indicates the drive to everybody that's evaluating him, including Andy Green and the rest of the staff.
In the air to center field, Franchi Cordero, who has been busy into right center, makes a catch and ends the inning. It's 7th inning stretch from Peoria. Padres have a 10-5 lead.
Padres lead 10-5, and Padre fans single game tickets for the 2018 Padres season are on sale now. Grab your tickets early and save up to 20% off at Padres.com.
Padres have a 10-5 lead as we head here to the last of the 7th inning. Stephen McGee leading it off here for the Padres in the DH spot. He takes over for Christian Villanueva. And a good day today. Just joined Bob Scanlon moments ago. Double, a walk, and a home run. Scored 2 runs. Knocked in 3 runs today. Very good day today for Villanueva. He's been coming off the bench in spring training. Last year, AA San Antonio in 78 games. Padres AA venue hit a .252. Attended Florida State University. Named to the All-ACC second team in 2013. Signed as a minor league free agent by the Padres. Catcher by trade. Sends one out towards deep left center field. Collins on the run back at the wall. It hit off the bottom of the wall. Fires it back in towards the infield, but McGee stands at second base with a leadoff double here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Now, big smiles for Stephen McGee. Why? He takes this fastball, drills it to center field. You can see him looking for it. Touching first. That's a good sign. Just the excitement of getting that at bat and drilling that double. Congratulations.
So double to start the bottom of the 7th inning. And it brings up Dusty Coleman, his first plate appearance today as he bats here for Orioles. Coleman has seen a lot of time at third base during the spring. 27 games he got into last year at the big league level, hitting at .227. It's jammed here and fouls it off to the right out of play.
Well, the youngsters, Fernando Tatis Jr., also Javi Guerra, getting most of their reps at shortstop after Freddie Galvis. You would think Dusty Coleman might get some shortstop reps when and if those guys get sent down to the minor leagues.
Mentioned the 27 games for him with the Padres last year. His previous major league experience was with these Kansas City Royals. Appeared in 4 games in the big leagues in 2015. Originally selected by the Oakland A's in the 28th round, but he was signed by the Royals to a minor league free agent deal in 2015 and got to the big leagues with Kansas City that year. Fly ball to center field. Lots of sun out there and a battle. Unable to make the catch for the first out here of the 7th inning. So 1 out and McGee still at second base. Franchy Cordero batting for the first time. Took over in center field a couple of innings ago, but bats for the first time. This was Manuel Margot's spot, and Margot today a 2-hit day. McGee at second, 1 down. Leo into his second inning of relief here for Kansas City. Took over for Scott Barlow an inning ago. Allowed the double to McGee to begin the inning, but got Coleman to fly out to center. Cordero now with Javi Guerra waiting on deck here. Padres batting in the last of the 7th inning on top 10-5. Trying to keep the string going of consecutive innings with at least a run. They had no runs in the first, but have scored in every inning since.
Yeah, the offense has been very impressive today. They've capitalized on some mistakes by the Royals pitching. Also driven the ball out of the ballpark. 2-strike hitting's been impressive at times.
In the air to shallow left center, and diving in left field, unable to come up with it. And now coming around from second base trying to score is McGee. He will, but safely back to second base goes Cordero. Padres added their total on top now 11-5.
I think the sun had a lot of influence on this ball. Center fielder looked up and went right into the sun. Gives way to that left fielder, and he cannot come up with the play. Cordero almost gets tagged on the backside.
So runner at second. Padres do keep that string together of adding a run every inning since the first. And lead it now 11-5. Javi Guerra struck out swinging first time up in the 5th inning, and here he is in the 7th. Foul tipped 0-2. Runs, 17 hits now for the Padres, no errors. 5 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Royals. Danny Duffy started today for Kansas City, went the first 2 innings, giving up a hit. Was charged with 2 runs. He walked 2. and did not strike anybody out. Team Trevor Oaks, Scott Barlow, and now Sam Gavolino. A little bit high. No, he's going to call him out. Third strike, high strike call. Much to the chagrin of Guerra, who strikes out, and there are 2 outs here in the 7th.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the San Diego Padres. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
I'm telling you, it gets better every time. So good.
It's like you're salmon.
I mean, it's like there's no comparison, I think, between you and the other guy. This pitch will miss outside.
The other guy. We missed the other guy.
I haven't seen the other guy in a while. I don't know what he's doing.
He's probably shoveling snow.
Yeah, that's what I hear, huh?
In Alpine.
Shane Peterson fouls it back to the screen. He's batting in the spot of Will Myers after taking over in the outfield. And Myers today with a 2-hit day, both singles to left field. Last year in Tampa Bay in the big leagues with the Rays, hit .253 with a couple of home runs, 11 runs batted in. From Fallbrook, California. Signed as a minor league free agent by the Padres during the offseason. He's 30 years of age. And this one fouled off to the left out of play. Big league time with Tampa Bay. We talked about that. Also in Oakland and Milwaukee. Played 93 games for the Brewers in 2015. That's the most time he's seen at the major league level. Out of Long Beach State University. Two-time All Big West performer. Once had a 22-game hitting streak. Lines one to center field. That's in for a base hit. Cordero being waved around. He will score, and the Padres take a 12-5 lead. Shane Peterson with an RBI single to center field. A 2-run bottom of the 7th inning so far for San Diego.
Well, the 18-hit attack today, and the Padres have done a nice job with 2 strikes. This elevated pitch is drilled into center field. Former dirtbag doing some damage out there. Great program up at Long Beach State.
Here is Josh Naylor. Took over defensively at first base. Naylor, another youngster, 20 years old, from Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. Split last year between Lake Elsinore and San Antonio. Combined to play in 114 games between the 2 venues. This is out towards right center field, and a gapper gets down to the track in the wall. Peterson trying to score all the way from first base. He will, and the Padres get their 13th run of the day. On top 13-5. Josh Naylor drives in a run. Quite an offensive attack today for San Diego.
Well, they call him Nails, and this is the reason why. He can absolutely rake. Swings the bat really nice. You see Shane Peterson really putting it down, and with the 2 outs, easily scoring with that gapper. Josh Naylor, 20 years old, known for just putting line drives all over the place.
That brings up Tatis, who doubled in the 6th inning. Getting his second at bat coming off the bench. 3 doubles in this inning for the Padres, and so far 3 runs.
Well, you mentioned it earlier, Don. Tip of the cap to the Padres farm system, ranking #1. MLB Pipeline Farm System rankings came out today. It's because of this young man, Fernando Tatis Jr., also Mackenzie Gore. Their stable of arms down there.
I've heard about these names, and now we're starting to see them in spring training, big league camp, and these guys look good. They have not yet played at the big league level, some of them, but enjoying success here.
Well, there's no assurances of making it to the big leagues and even having an impact. But this organization has started to draft, develop, also get some players from Latin America through trades. They're starting to put it together, and obviously being ranked #1, that says something about the organization and what's coming next.
Naylor at second base with 2 down. Count of 2-2 to Fernando Tatis Jr. A little more on Tatis. Last season, the minors between A and AA played 131 games at .278. He's got power, 22 home runs, 75 runs batted in, and keep in mind, turned 19 on January the 2nd. Coming over the James Shield trade in June of 2016.
Has the bloodlines, his dad, former major leaguer. I think that has a lot to do with it. It's not an assurance that these guys are going to make it and be an impact player, but bloodlines definitely help. Growing up around the game, I think it's just a feeling that you get, but also it opens a lot of doors.
One foul back.
Now, being around Fernando Tatis Jr. only for a few days, he just has that presence around, and a lot of people are watching him, and there's a watchful eye on every move he makes. He's handled it very nicely. Calm demeanor at 19. That's saying something.
Definitely beyond his years. Seems that way anyway.
I can't even tell you what I was doing at 19 years old. Freezing up at the University of Maine. But that's where it ends.
You were a black bear.
Not in big league camp. Not with the huge expectations of being the next guy possibly that makes a huge impact on this roster.
When did the season start? University of Maine, July?
July, yeah. Late July, I think it was. That's when our field thawed out.
Still some snow around?
Just a little bit. We just had to shovel around first base. We were fine.
That's on the outside corner for strike 3. Tatis didn't like it, but he strikes out to end the inning. A 3-run inning for the Padres on top 13-5. Back-to-back for us. Austin Hedges with his 4th home run of spring training. driving in the Padres' 8th run of the day. And then Christian Villanueva followed up with a home run of his own. Back-to-back with the Padres in the 5th inning. All part of a 13-5 San Diego lead here as we venture into the 8th inning on a beautiful day. Lots of sunshine in Peoria, Arizona. 19 hits for the Padres today. With a pitching change here for the 8th inning. Adam Cimber now comes into the game, the 27-year-old from Portland, Oregon.
Cimber down now.
Double-A and Triple-A for 49 games. Combined places last year.
Well, there's a couple guys that go the little sidewinder route. I think it just gives you that different dynamic and a different look. And I think a lot of managers, when you're trying to construct a bullpen, like to see these guys and give it a different look, especially the tough right-handed hitters.
I have not seen Makita yet in person, but told very impressive from the side.
Watched him in a bullpen, and man, it's not about velocity. It's about different directions. And you would think a sidearm would be known for that sinking actions. You can see Cimber right there just working that downward angle. I think Makita is actually known for that high fastball. It's not about velocity. It's about that upshoot.
So he starts low and it rises.
Yeah. And he has the ability to manipulate the baseball where it just looks like it's carrying up. A lot of swings and misses.
Out ahead of this, sending it a long way down the right field line, but a foul ball.
I think managers look at sidearmers, and it just gives that different dynamic because you're so used to picking up release points that are up above the shoulder, or even that three-quarter angle. You get the guys that are scraping their knuckles on the dirt. You're not used to that.
Well, check swing grounder down to first, where Josh Naylor will flip to Cimber for out number 1 here at the 8th inning. Well, the bullpen, a strength of the Padres last year, and even after trading Buchter and Maurer away, the bullpen's still very strong, and this year heading into the season very strong. And of course, yeah, Brad Hand anchoring that pen as the closer. Yates, Stammen, and the newcomer Makita joining the Padres. Excited to watch him work.
You know, when those you see the first three, and I think that's a mentality and a mindset that they have. And no matter what situation they're in, they're going to be able to take the ball. And Andy Green loves that. Makita's going to give that different dynamic. But I think this bullpen is very deep. It's going to be the strength of the club. And if you can shorten the games, I think you have an ability when you have a lead to be able to anchor those wins. It's going to be important for the Padres.
What a great job last year too by Kirby Yates. Picked up off waivers from the Angels by the Padres, and he ended up being a huge part of last year's Padres bullpen.
Yeah, out of nowhere, because we were wondering what you're going to get from a Kirby Yates. Is he going to be here for a few days and get sent back down? What's going to happen? And really built himself, along with Craig Stammen, to go out there and give Andy much needed innings at the end of the year, and they were high leverage situations.
Ryan O'Hearn batting here with 1 down in the inning. And that is strike 3. That's nasty, right over the inside corner. Tough at bat for O'Hearn there against Cimber, 2 down.
Well, Cimber has movement, but he also has some velocity down there. Sometimes you get sidearmers that just want to manipulate the baseball. That's velocity and pitching in on the plate.
Two down for Eric Mejia. That's with 2 outs and the base is empty. Mejia came into the game at second base defensively and batting here for the first time. Last year, A-ball, Double-A, and Triple-A. 3 different venues for him a season ago. Fly ball skied to left field. Shane Peterson is in left. And Peterson will make the catch. It ends a very good inning for Adam Cimber. Padres have a 13-5 lead.
Graduation day.
Padres on top 13-5 over the Royals. We will next be with you on Monday. Play a little night baseball during the spring. 5:30 Pacific time as the Diamondbacks and the Padres will play here from Peoria Stadium on Monday night. That's tonight's broadcast here on Fox Sports San Diego. Hope you will join us on Monday night. Mark Sweeney will be back with us again, right?
Yes, I'll be back. More night games that some of these organizations like to implement during spring training just to get these guys acclimated to what they're going to normally have for the majority of their games that are in the regular season.
Scott Blewett into the game here now for Kansas City. Dealing with Travis Jankowski, fly to right field in the 6th inning.
That's an interesting name to have as a relief pitcher, right?
You don't want to blow it.
No.
This one is in there for a strike, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, Grant Balfour. Remember Grant Balfour?
Yes, I do. He was a closer at one point.
Yeah, a very successful one.
Very
it's a tough one.
But it was spelled Balfour,
yeah.
Actually, B-A-L-F-O.
But you know,
very animated, though. You know, I remember he was bouncing around the mound.
He did. He had a lot of energy.
Yep. I think he was Australian, right?
Yes. Good day, mate. You like that?
That was really good.
That was so good. Now, spring training. You're staying here, obviously. What's on the docket to make tonight?
I know it's going to be
you're cooking.
chicken. I think chicken with cheese, a little asparagus. Stuffed in the chicken.
Really?
Cheese and the asparagus tonight.
Now, how do you stuff it into the chicken?
You wrap it. There's a ground ball off the pitcher. Blewett man kicks out towards third base, but reaching is Jankowski. A lot of speed there. And Travis aboard, grounding one off the pitcher and a kick towards third. Infield hit for Travis Jankowski. His first of the day. Looks like the trainer's going to come out here and check on Blewett. Lower leg, I would say.
Well, 2 productive at bats for Travis Jankowski today. He lined out to right field, and then that hard ground ball off the pitcher. Looks like it catches him on that calf shin area.
You know what I'm really not going to look forward to again this year is Mark Grant showing me what it feels like to be a big leaguer.
It's happened.
Anytime that someone gets hit, Mark Grant last year decided that I should feel it. And I would fire balls off my knee, had one off my wrist.
You know, I don't involve anything with that stuff because that's your hijinks. But I think if I was suggesting, I'd probably have Mark bring maybe a tool, an apparatus, maybe a ball on a stick to try to make it a little bit easier to simulate how it's going to feel.
Well, you know, why don't I get to wear any like gear? You know, like a lot of guys go up there with an elbow pad and stuff. I mean, I had no defense.
You can ask Spencer Dolan, maybe one of those elbow pads, maybe
This one is a one hopper to short that could be 2. The second for 1 on to first. It is 2. So Austin Allen batting for the first time grounds into a 6-4-3 double play. I would have to say the one that I took off the kneecap was by far the most painful.
Yes.
I felt it for like 3 days afterwards. And as I recall, I ended up on the ground writhing in pain, and you guys thought it was really funny.
Well, I don't
stuff.
I don't think I like that. I don't think he should continue that, but I probably encourage him to bring something else. It would be easier if he chose to continue that.
I'm against it. If I have a vote.
Yeah. I don't think you vote in that category.
I'm down on it.
I think we should actually probably sell it as a segment.
What it feels to be like a big leaguer to get hit. Various different body parts. This one to right field. And Saunders settles underneath it in right. Will make the catch. That ends the inning here in the 8th. We go to the 9th. Padres have a 13-5 lead. And the new pitcher in, T.J. Ware, comes into the game. The 26-year-old from Kokomo, Indiana. Time last year in A-ball and in Double-A. Lake Elsinore and San Antonio. Was a Padres 17th round pick. And look at the two spots for him last year combined between A-ball and Double-A. He's trying to finish it off here for the Padres today in the ninth.
Well, T.J. Weir also has the ability to really spin a slider. That's his out pitch. Swing man, he has the ability to start but also come out of the bullpen. That versatility is important this day and age.
Brings up Ryan Goins into the game, the former Toronto Blue Jay, standing in on the left side. And fouling one off to the left out of play. .237, 9 homers, 62 RBIs. Blue Jay last year. Lead on the rising fastball, 0-2. This was Hunter Dozier's spot. He was 1 for 3 today with a single back in the 4th inning. Nice job by Adam Simber, who pitched today in the 8th inning for the Padres. A 1-2-3 inning. We've seen some very good relief appearances today from some of the Padres pitchers.
Yeah, these guys have really performed very well. Saw Simber come in. Not only was it the movement on his pitches, but also the velocity, pitching in and out with his fastball.
Ground ball nicely picked by Ware, and he'll fire to first base for the out. Nice play. Came to the end of his delivery and then had to get up in the air to grab that, and he did. So Goins retired.
Well, you can see fielding your position after you deliver it, but also gloving that. That probably makes it into center field. He's hard infield.
One down here in the 9th inning. Berto Artiga now batting. Fouled back, 0-2. "20 hits today for the Padres, out hitting the Royals 20-7, on top 13-5. Oh, and a spike to the backstop. A little slip there at the end of the delivery for Ware. We're working here with one down in the inning. Two and two. Padres got 2 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd, 4 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, a run in the 6th, and 3 in the 7th. Pretty good offensive attack today. 13 runs on 20 hits. Fly ball to right field. Jankowski towards the line. Will make the catch for out number 2 of the 9th inning. So T.J. Weir has the first 2 outs here of the 9th. That is now 8 in a row retired by Padres pitching. Combined effort of Michael Marriott, Adam Simber, and now T.J. Weir.
I was very impressed with Michael Marriott too. 2 innings of work. Very comfortable with his fastball, pitching at the top of the strike zone. A lot to like if you're Andy Green and his staff today.
Weir last year Double-A in San Antonio, a 2.17 earned run average. Graduated to Double-A after a 1.86 ERA in Lake Elsinore. Moving on up the chain. Ground ball right side, and by the dive of Josh Naylor at first base into right field. Tyler Collins on here with 2 down in the 9th. Base hit for Collins to right. He's been on twice since coming into the game. A walk in the 7th, now a single in the 9th. And it'll bring up Michael Saunders. Saunders fouled out to the second baseman, Luis Urias, at the time. Down the first base line in the 7th inning. Here he is again in the 9th. Outside, ball 2, 2-0. And Mitchell started today 2 shutout innings for the Padres in his 2nd start of the spring. On a walk and a strikeout, gave up just the 1 hit in 2 innings. Baumann, Wilhelmsen, Hero, Marriott, Simber, and now Weir. 7 pitchers used today. There's a strike, 3-1. Fouled off, and Weir battles back here. Full count now. With Collins at first and 2 down in the Kansas City 9th inning. Line to right, and that's going to get in for a base hit. Trying to go first to third is Collins. He will. On a ringing single to right field. Off the bat of Michael Saunders, and now the Royals have runners at first and third with 2 down.
Well, you got to like what you saw from the offense today. Obviously 20 hits for the Padres. Guys that really stick out. Austin Hedges continues to hit a swing a hot bat. Also Christian Villanueva powering the baseball on back-to-back days where he had the grand slam yesterday and the home run today.
DeWeese takes a pitch down and in for ball 1. Fly ball to left field, where Shane Peterson will make the catch that ends the ball game. Well, the Royals leave 2 men on in the inning. The Padres come away with a 13-5 victory. We're back with more from Peoria right after this.